Very good afternoon to all of you. आप सभी को नमस्कार. I, on behalf of Fiscal Study Circle, welcome all you in as our last webinar for the month of February, and that too we are eagerly waiting for this webinar because this webinar talks about new professional opportunity for CAs. जैसा फ्रेंड्स आपने सुना होगा बजट में मैडम ने गिफ्ट सेंटर के बारे में काफी कुछ बताया, बहुत चेंजेस थी और कई नई अपॉर्चुनिटीज के बारे में बताया. तो वी आर प्लानिंग फॉर अ मंथ एगो, तो हम प्लान भी कर रहे थे और सडनली हमें अपॉर्चुनिटी मिला. वी हैव आवर गेस्ट स्पीकर फ्रॉम पुणे विथ अस, सी रतन मुंद्रा जी. वेलकम सर.
थैंक यू सर.
वी हैव सेकंड गेस्ट स्पीकर मिस्टर आशीष, सी आशीष Jhagarawat.
Not CS sir, he is MDSC.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Mr. Ashish, welcome Ashish ji. We have our ex-chairman NIRC, Sasank ji. आपका भी स्वागत है Sasank जी.
नमस्कार सर, थैंक यू.
फ्रेंड्स, आज के दिन जो हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं काफी न्यू टॉपिक है. एयरक्राफ्ट लीजिंग के बारे में, शिप लीजिंग के बारे में, बुलियन एक्सचेंज के बारे में. एंड वी आर वेरी ग्लैड एंड वी आर वेरी थैंकफुल टू रतन जी एंड आशीष जी कि उन्होंने अपने बिजी शेड्यूल से टाइम निकाला. दे आर परमानेंटली इनटू SEZ प्रैक्टिस एंड वी आर आल्सो वेरी थैंकफुल टू शशांक जी जिन्होंने काफी मेहनत की दोनों स्पीकर को लाने के लिए. और अब हम प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत कराते हैं बिकॉज आई एम वेरी eagerly वेटेड फॉर दिस टॉपिक. मैं शशांक जी से रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगा कि एक बार थोड़ा प्रोग्राम के स्ट्रक्चर के बारे में बताएं, दोनों स्पीकर के बारे में बताएं.
Thank you Sandeep ji. First of all, Jai Shri Krishna to all of you. A warm welcome to Ratan Moondra ji and Ashish ji over this platform. Among our members of East Delhi, and I can say it's not just a East Delhi, it is comprising of many members from different states and corner of India. And we are very glad today we are discussing about some aspects which we generally not deal in our routine practice, and various aspects related to Gift City, because it's a curiosity. First of all, it's a curiosity. If we talk about the Gift City in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat, it's a curiosity for Delhi members, because some people say, where should I invest my money? Like, this is one of the good questions from the clients. Where should I invest money, in Gift City or outside India? What is the tax applicability? Will it be beneficial for me to invest in Gift City? Like, these kind of questions are coming. Yesterday, I was reading from one of the trade receivable exchanges, M1 Exchange. There is a company. They are setting up they get some kind of license. I really don't understand what kind of advantages they get from the government of India, but they are setting up their international center in Gift City. So again, people are investing, people are earning, and we are not knowing anything about that. So this is kind of aspect which we are not unable to understand sitting in Delhi right now. And I would be very interested in understanding about the SEZ implementations, how people are earning through SEZ business, and what all the services like Ashish ji and Ratan ji is trying to give to the clients. And Ratan ji, like I really inspired from Ratan ji, because he is not holding the certificate of practice as of now, and he's continuously evolved and putting his all efforts in building up businesses for the so many corporates in the SEZ platforms. And the budget has definitely invited so many references in terms of I believe they are ending the period of the like sunrise period or sun moon period of the SEZ. So what does that mean, and how we can foresee for the near future of the 10 to 20 years for the SEZ kind of companies which were earlier operated in the SEZ areas, and how this Gift City will evolve? Because I really have some information that right now Gift City is not working as per the thoughts which government has initiated in earlier. So again, is it a good time to invest? Is it a good time to add one more services in your bouquet of services to advise for the gift city, or Ratanji has given some insights about the bullion exchange also. So I am very eager for the another thing, bullion exchange. So many exchanges are coming nowadays. If you have heard about the energy exchange, India Energy Exchange is there. There is a bullion exchange. There is a trade receivable exchange. So many bouquet of services are now coming in this entire economy, and I think we are we are moving very fast. So as a chartered accountant, there are lots of opportunity. Definitely there are lots of opportunity, but yes, I think Ratan Moondra ji and Ashish ji is a very right person to guide us, to at least aware us that what is happening in the economy. Because like I am not able to get out from GST and TDS and income tax, trust me, but still I really find these webinars really help me to advise rightly to the clients. So I again welcome my all participants and डियर मेंबर्स, मेरे को लगता है आज आप काफी क्वेरीज पूछेंगे और कुछ नया आज हम देखने को हमें मिलेगा रतन जी और आशीष जी के साथ। और ये ब्लेसिंग है वेबिनार की कि हम पुणे से रतन जी और आशीष जी को सुन पा रहे हैं दिल्ली में। वरना देखिए थोड़ा मुश्किल होता था कि मैं बोलूं कि सर आप अब पूरा 2 दिन खराब करके मेरे पास आइए और हमारे बीच अपनी सेशन को शेयर करें। So I again welcome Ratan ji and Ashish ji and humbly thanks to invite our invitation on behalf of members and his daily study cycle.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. I thank on behalf of Ratanji, myself, and entire Moon Group that you have given us an opportunity to interact with all the members. As you mentioned, that the members are from various parts of the country, and that's the beauty actually, and that's the beauty of webinar also, that we can connect with the people at the different location. So before we start, I just one question we were discussing, that how Ratanji started and how Moon got into this business. So before Ratanji could say anything, since I am also associated with Ratanji since last almost 12 years now, 2010. So in fact, I did CA Inter, I left CA and then did MBA. And I worked with HDFC Bank for 2.5 years from 2008 to 2010. And that time I was working with Ratanji. In fact, I came to Ratanji for my articleship for 2 months. And Ratanji initially itself, when SEZ Act and Rules came into in India in 2006. So 2006, Moon SEZ got incorporated. So that's what the vision actually, that we want to be one of the India's leading SEZ consultants since inception. And that's how the name of Moon is also derived from Ratanji's surname, that is Ratan Moondra. So that time the registrar of company said, no, I'll remove something from the name. And that's how, instead of Moondra, it was Moon SEZ Consultant got born. And to be very honest, Ratanji then don't do CA practice anymore. But yes, with the knowledge of CA, with a mix of technology, we have now evolved as one of the India's leading SEZ consultant. In fact, much bigger than the volume of Big Fours in SEZ. So we are SEZ Big Four as of now. And in IFSC also, when 2015 IFSC was getting conceptualized, that time there was no unified regulator. Everything was driven as per SEBI, IRDA, RBI. And that time we ventured into IFSC, and everybody was running behind GST impact assessment, and we were pushing through IFSC domain that time. So with so good so far, we have team strength of 225 employees as of now, and 16 different locations, but purely into SEZ. And we have developed, we have invested heavily into automations actually, and that's the future of India, combined with financial technologies and all. That's what the vision of the government is, and that's where the IFSC comes into play. So in today's discussion, there are 2 points of discussion what we are taking forward. One is what Ratanji would be covering is about the professional opportunities for chartered accountants, like apart from the routine traditional practice, what all new business areas are emerging into and what are the opportunities for them.
Ashish ji, I think your screen has been has stuck. Ashish ji. संदीप जी आप सुन पा रहे हैं?
हाँ जी, मैं सुन रहा हूँ। आशीष जी,
आई थिंक आशीष जी की, रतन जी आपकी स्क्रीन अगर
मे बी सम टेक्निकल इशू विल बी देयर।
हाँ, मे बी इज रिकनेक्टिंग अगेन।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी। think things happen.
हाँ आशीष जी आप बीच में आई थिंक आपकी स्क्रीन में कोई इशू आ गया था, अनम्यूट कर लीजिएगा आशीष जी।
Yeah, is it okay now, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I think so I believe you heard about what Ratanji would be covering in today's session.
Yes.
And yeah, so I would be covering the business aspect of it, like when you are advising your clients, what are the opportunities in IFSC where your client can be venturing into, and you can also advise to your clients how effectively it can be done. So Ratanji is also there. So like before we proceed, Ratanji can also, Ratan sir. So you are on mute. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Alice, you can start it when I will, it will be my turn. I will inform members how I became CA to the SEZ consultant and what will be the journey.
Great.
I just share my screen, sir. Yeah. Sorry. I believe my screen is visible.
Yes, आशीष जी, please. बट ये मून सर हिट हो गया है अभी, है ना, मून बढ़िया हो चुका है मून ना.
Right. Okay. So basically, as we discussed, sir, we are going to discuss about the business opportunities in IFSC today. That is not from the professional perspective, but from the client perspective. And Ratanji would be covering from the professional perspective. So first of all, I just give you an overview about what is an IFSC, what is Gift City, like what is an IFSC authority is all about.
Ashish ji, can you change the slide view because the screen is coming small.
Slide view, no?
Is it now okay?
Just click on the like fourth slide button, like the slide views.
Yeah, I have done that. Done that. Just a sec.
आई थिंक उसकी ना अलग स्क्रीन खुल रही है आपके में ना, तो वो आपको शायद शेयर करनी होगी, या आप शेयर ऑल स्क्रीन कर दीजिए, शायद तब हो जाएगा.
I hope now it is okay.
Yes, sir. Perfect. Perfect. It's perfect, Ashish ji.
You're able to see, right, sir?
Yes, Ashish ji. Perfect. Please carry on.
So basically, sir, before we proceed, just to give you a glimpse about what is IFSC, what is Gift City, and what is an IFSC authority all about. So we have been hearing since last 75 years that rupee is not a full account convertibility, basically. And that's the reason there are various restrictions from RBI perspective, from FEMA perspective for inward and outward flow of currency. So like there are various restrictions in terms of ODI guidelines, LRS guidelines, FEMA guidelines. So there are a whole lot of guidelines you need to take care of while you transact in terms of foreign currency, when you transact with a foreign citizen, when you transact with a foreign national. So on the similar lines of other financial centers around the world, like Tokyo, Hong Kong, Singapore, London, New York, in 2007, when the current Prime Minister and then time Gujarat Chief Minister, he visited to various destinations, and that's where the IFSC concept took birth actually. So therefore, IFSC is nothing but a territory, which is from FEMA perspective, it is not deemed to be, it is actually out of India. And that's the reason under FEMA norms, an entity created in IFSC is treated as not resident in India. And that's the beauty of the concept, that within Indian boundaries, they were able to create this, I would say, an island on the similar lines of other financial destinations, so that the local laws, the local rules, regulations, FEMA guidelines does not apply to the transaction being carried out from IFSC authority in Gandhinagar. As of now, there is only one IFSC in the country, and that too in GIFT City. So GIFT City is located in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, which is between Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar and has good connectivity to the airport also. It's around 800 acres of overall plant development, which includes SEZ plus IFSC and the non-SEZ area. And it is being promoted by, again, government of Gujarat. Thereafter, what has happened is the evolution of IFSC, I would say. So 2015, in fact, the first in the budget, interim budget after 2014, when the new government took over the powers. So they launched this concept and they announced that before next budget, all the guidelines will be issued. And that's what actually happened in 2015. All regulators, right from RBI, SEBI and IRDA at that point in time, issued their guidelines. And that's how IFSC took birth actually. So IFSC is International Financial Services Center, which is located in GIFT City, Gujarat. There is a unified regulator requirement which was envisaged, because every time, still after 2015, all the investors from India were required to go to RBI, SEBI, IRDA for various permissions for setting up their units in IFSC. Along with various other financial activities approval, product approval. So what has happened is government thought, why not we bring all these regulators into one and give all these powers of a regulators to a unified regulator that is called as IFSCA, International Financial Services Center Authority. And that's how the birth of IFSC was there. And in 2019, it was a time when IFSCA Act was incorporated, and the IFSC authority assumed power in 2020 October. This is the short journey by virtue of which now all the decision for IFSC is being taken by IFSCA authority means. And the new product development, new business development, any clarifications, regulations, framework, guidelines, everything and anything is being developed and provided by them only now. So they are typically, so the entities which are operating within that confined area need not follow RBI, SEBI, IRDA regulation, and it is only the IFSCA regulation. There was always a question, there was a misconception that IFSC has not evolved over a time. I'll also come to that what all kind of entities are there, what is the business which is being done there. But before we proceed, I just take you through what are the fiscal incentives available in IFSC, either from the central government side and from the state government side. So the fiscal incentives which are available is, the first and foremost is the income tax benefit, the income tax holiday. All the units which are registered with an IFSC authority and treated as IFSC unit are eligible for corporate income tax holiday of 10 years, and that too out of a block of 15 years. These 10 years are consecutive 10 years. So you may opt for first year to 10th year or second year to 11th year. That depends on the business requirement. Minimum alternate tax is at a reduced rate, that is at 9%. But so there are two concepts by virtue of which a unit can be set up in IFSC. There are certain guidelines which allows for branch setup also. And there are certain guidelines which allows for separate wholly owned subsidiary, or which mandates wholly owned subsidiary. In case it's a wholly owned subsidiary, of course, MAT is applicable at the rate of 9%. And if it is a branch, now what happens in case of branch, if the domestic company has opted for concessional tax regime, then MAT is also not applicable in those cases. Next is no custom duty on the similar lines of SEZ. All goods a unit is procuring from outside India will be exempted. 100% upfront exemption is available from custom duty. Again, same with GST on both Opex as well as CapEx. GST is upfront exempted. No capital gain tax, no CTT, STT, means commodity transaction tax and security transaction tax is also exempted. And stamp duty on the capital market transaction is also exempted. That's another advantage here. Furthermore, the withholding tax is at the rate of 4% on interest, which is paid on the debt instrument also, which is unlike, is higher in India currently. So this is all from the central government taxation perspective. We now move to state government exemption. So the major exemption which is available under state government is the stamp duty is completely exempted on your movable, immovable property transaction, purchase of aircraft, financing, refinancing, insurance, reinsurance business, or any business agreement also. So that is an 100% exemption available under Gujarat government IT policy. On 8th of this month itself, Gujarat government has released their new policy, that is IT policy 2022, and that is valid up to 2026 now. Under that policy, Gujarat government also gives up certain incentives and subsidies, which includes Capex subsidy, which includes Opex subsidy. So this is huge subsidy, which is unit is entitled for 25% of the eligible Capex expenditure and subject to maximum of 50 crores. So suppose if anybody has invested 5 crore rupees, so upfront 1 crore rupees would be refunded, and it is not being adjusted against your GST or any other thing. It is a cash refund which is available. Second part is Opex subsidy or Opex support, which is like yearly total eligible Opex ka 15% you are eligible for grant every year for a period of 5 years from the date of commencement of business. And then they also give new and unique employment generation incentive, which is monthly CTC ka 50% in case of male employees, and in case of female employees it is 60,000 rupees maximum. 50% is both, but for male it is 50,000, for female it is 60,000 per employee. You're also eligible for interest subsidy at the rate of 7% on term loan or actual interest paid, whichever is lower, but there is a capping to it, that is 1 crore per annum. Then electricity duty is also exempted, EPF contribution is also there. There are various conditions to be followed, but of course these exemptions are available. And so far our experience of working in Gujarat is there's a single window mechanism, and the approvals are very fast from the state government, unlike in different states. So as I was saying, that what is the business which is happening in GIFT City currently, and what are the regulations all about? So far, since inception of, or since setting up of IFSC authority in 2020, right from September, October, they have issued or come up with various regulations, and the business is happening in each and every regulation. There are various major players available in GIFT City. So one, they issued banking regulation in 2020, then bullion exchange. You might have heard that the India's first spot exchange in bullion is coming in GIFT City. That is another one. Then global in-house center. This is an interesting regulation. So all your IT companies also, all your back offices of BFSI entities, when their client or the parent or the subsidiary entities are financially regulated in foreign jurisdiction, their back office can also be set up in IFSC. Right now, this is happening in SEZ, and people were enjoying tax exemption. But with this regulation in IFSC, they can also become an IFSC unit in GIFT City, and the tax exemptions are much more than SEZ. The only condition is your client or the parent or subsidiary should be a financially regulated entity. So just like in India, financial regulated means there should be an RBI, SEBI or IRDA regulated entity. Similarly, in different jurisdiction, in US, there could be somebody, in Australia, there is an Australian Security Exchange. Similar to that sort of entity should be there. Then apart from this existing regulation, if somebody is coming with a fintech solution and for which the regulations are not there, in such cases, they can apply under regulatory sandbox framework. So under regulatory sandbox framework, what happens is IFSC allows them to test their product, to develop, and then also work on the real-time data before they can actually go into the market for commercial launching. That is how they are developing fintech. And recently, fintech incentive policy has also been rolled out, though the notification pertains to 2nd Feb, but it is issued or released on 11th of Feb only. So that is another incentive policy. Then IFSCA issuance and listing of securities. There are two exchanges working there. One is India International Exchange that is being operated by Bombay Stock Exchange. And another is NSE, National Stock Exchange, IFSC Exchange. And just for everybody's information, you might have been reading in the newspaper that Singapore or SGX Nifty is moving to GIFT City. And that is where the fact is, yes, the Singapore Exchange has set up their branch in GIFT City. And that, if everything goes well, should be live in a couple of months now. And then this SGX Nifty trading would happen from GIFT City. Then they have also come up with an Nbfc regulation, that is IFSCA Finance Company Regulation. So which is equivalent to NBFCs, but there are various other opportunities available into it, unlike in NBFCs in India. Then market infrastructure, this is for the support institution to the exchanges. For them also, they have separate regulations. And then aircraft leasing. I'll cover this aircraft leasing in a bigger way in separate section, but yes, for the time being, aircraft leasing was happening. So Ireland is a small country, but it commands over 50% of overall world's leasing business in aircraft, 50% of world's overall business. So the reason was multiple. One of the tax exemption, one of the reason was tax exemption, and second is basically ease of doing business. Similar to that, IFSC has also come up with an aircraft leasing transaction, and the first aircraft from GIFT City is also leased and the units are operationalized. So far, around 15 units have got the approval in IFSC for that. Then framework for ancillary services. This is one of the best for CF fraternity, because under this category, all business consultants, management consultants, market research companies, chartered accountants, lawyers, everybody can set up their unit in IFSC, not in SEZ, in IFSC. But your revenue should be 100% in foreign currency. Second, your client should be the one who is into either IFSC or foreign jurisdiction involved in the financial business or regulated entity outside India. So this is one of the biggest policy wherein the CA fraternity can fit into.
You are talking about framework for ancillary services?
Yeah, ancillary services.
Okay.
Yeah, this is very important regulation for all of us. And all the big fours have also set up under this guidelines only in GIFT City.
So can we open our branch office in this area basically?
Yes, all chartered accountants can set up their branch offices under ancillary category, provided their clients. So you might be working with some, let's say, stockbroker, insurance broker, any of the entity which is in IFSC now, bullion exchange is coming, or AIF, or mutual fund, or you may be providing certain services to international clients also in the financial domain, or their back office work that can also be done from here. Then this is a part of actually finance company regulation, the Global Treasury Center. But this is a unique kind of guidelines wherein you might have heard about in Singapore and all what this, what government does. They allow global trading from there, global sourcing from there. Similar to that, a part of which has also been framed in IFSC, that is Global Treasury. So any company, if it is in India, let's say there's an IT company, let's say TCS. Now, TCS wants to set up their global treasury center in IFSC. One side, they can extend the line of credit from the banks available in IFSC that will be in foreign currency. On the second side, they can also do source procurement, sourcing, and extend this line of credit as a treasury. They can do hedging from there. They can do arbitration from there on behalf of their headquarters in India. So that is where this global treasury center concept comes into in picture. Here in these guidelines, there is an opportunity for every type of businesses in India. Either it could be manufacturing, either it could be IT, either it could be trading company. They can set up their global treasury center in IFSC. Then framework for setting up international trade financing. So this is what you were, Saurabhji, you were explaining, that M1 exchange. So basically, sir, what has happened is in India, everybody might be aware about trades platform, which is trade receivable exchange actually. Then that is for MSME. That was framed by RBI, and there are 3 licenses which has been issued in India. But that is only for MSME driven organizations in India, and wherein the buyer is an NTG above 500 crores of revenue. That was a mandatory requirement. On the similar lines, there was no platform in India which could allow cross-border transactions in like factoring, reverse factoring. You have debt financing, you have ECB financing, foreign currency term loans. For all those things, they have come up with trade financing, which includes smart LCs. So this is again a big topic wherein in foreign jurisdiction in European countries, a consortium of 15 banks came together and issued a concept of smart LCs. As of now, smart LC works in a manner wherein the physical documents get verified from the destination bank and the corresponding bank, and that's how it gets settled. And that takes a month's time or more than a month. But in case of smart LC, it's a blockchain-driven concept, and wherein the smart LCs get opened up and gets materialized within a period of 24 hours or 48 hours. That's how the consortium of the bank is working. And all those business, so there are 5 licenses have been given in IFSCA on the similar lines of trades, but this would be international transaction, bill discounting, factoring, reverse factoring, for import, export, packing credit, buyer's credit, all those things will come into on the platform. Now, with respect to this Bullion exchange, now there was a need for operating guidelines. So they have come up with an operating guidelines in 2022 that who can become member, what are the eligibility criteria. So this Bullion exchange would be the first one in India to be operated from GIFT City as an export exchange. And I have covered this into separate sections, so I'll elaborate more onto it. Then capital market intermediaries, until 2021, everything was governed as per SEBI guidelines, but they have issued a separate regulations under IFSC in 2021 for capital market intermediaries, which includes your stockbrokers, your share transfer agent, investment advisors, PM portfolio management services. All those things comes into capital market intermediaries. Then we have insurance companies regulation, wherein the insurance companies are being set up. And the last one is insurance intermediary regulations, means insurance brokers. So there are various type of brokers, and there's another concept of corporate agent also they have come up with, apart from other domains like your TPA and surveyor. All those people are also there. So anybody is into insurance business can also be there as a part of insurance vertical there. And the beauty of this is, as of now in India, every insurance company has a mandatory requirement to place their reinsurance, because reinsurance is insurance company ka insurance. And the requirement is it cannot be placed in the same land territory. Means agar India insurance company is there, they cannot have reinsurance done from any other insurance player in India. They need to reinsure, they need to place their reinsurance 40%. There's a preference of order, wherein 40% goes to GIC, means General Insurance Corporation of India, and then balance goes to the foreign reinsurer. But with the IFSC in place, which is being treated as not resident in India, all insurance companies are allowed to place their reinsurance with IFSC entity also, though it is within the same land territory from the geographical boundary perspective, but from all legal regulations perspective, it is not resident in India. And that's what the advantage is. One thumb rule for all this transaction is your all revenue, entire revenue transaction, being a unit holder, would be in foreign currency mandatorily. Even if there are certain regulations wherein you are allowed to trade with Indians under LRS, ODI and other guidelines, but the revenue would be in foreign currency only mandatorily. Second, your expenses can be deferred in INR, but that money in INR account would also come from this foreign currency account only. You can't directly fund this INR account. So far, we have understood what is IFSC, what is IFSCA, what is GIFT City, what are the regulations framed so far, and what are the benefits available in IFSC. I think we can take the question and answer later on, right, sir, after the session, or?
Yes, sir. If you permit, I can ask the members that if any person has any questions. So
yeah, so that it can be more interactive rather than just.
And just tell me, so GIFT City, in GIFT City, is people sending the land, like selling the land, or the whole land is acquired by the government first of all, and now it is selling? Like how I can open an office? I have to take it on rent, or?
Yeah, next slide is about that only, sir.
Okay. Because see, if any person comes, for example, if any aircraft company is in Delhi,
yeah,
so if they are setting up their business in this IFSC, so main condition is that you have to provide services to the outside India. Is it correct? Like,
right, sir.
You have to take only the foreign currency.
Exactly. So this is what the next slide is.
Okay. Okay.
So shall we wait for somebody to ask questions, or like?
Dear participants, dear members, do you have any query with related to जो भी अभी तक discuss हुआ है? I believe क्योंकि वो काफी वो भी काफी सारा था वैसे तो समझने के लिए. And I think government has included each and every kind of services in.
And there are regulations getting amended. It's a very fast development which is happening, and the IFSC authority is a very, very proactive authority as of now. They come up with regulations. They discuss with participants. They take the feedback. They modify the regulations because it's an evolving stage. So what they want to do is wherever there are gaps, there is a business opportunity. They are plugging in those gaps and bringing in the regulations.
Does Ashish ji, don't you think that अगर मैं RBI का कोई डिफॉल्ट करता हूँ या कुछ भी चीजें करता हूँ, एक लेवल पर आके वो गिफ्ट सिटी में डील होती हैं, बट उसके बाद आकर वो मेरे हाई कोर्ट या सुप्रीम कोर्ट या कोई ना किसी कोर्ट में आकर इश्यूज आएंगे?
Yeah, so that is where the problem as of now is still there, which they are also working upon. One is like judicial system. There is no separate judicial system for IFSC as of now, unlike in DIFC or other jurisdiction, when there is a separate court for civil matters and the company matters in IFSC, DIFC basically. On the similar lines, as of now in this budget itself, Honorable Finance Minister has announced that they would be setting up an international arbitration center.
Correct.
So wherein if you want settlement to be done out of the court or alternate dispute resolution mechanism, that center would come in play. That is between the international clients and IFSC. But you rightly said, if the promoter of the company is from India and any dispute comes into, that will still be trialed under Indian judicial system as of now. But going forward, we may see once this gets set up, separate dispute resolution mechanism would also be there.
There is one member of our study circle, हमारे तो बड़े भैया हैं, M3 Joseph ji. He has asked one question. Kindly guide us about the professional opportunities for CS as regard the setting up and compliances of regulatory framework. So I think that you will cover in
yes. And in fact, I just go 2 slides back, sir. When I mentioned this framework of ancillary services, so it covers 6 types of services. All type of consulting related services, which includes management consulting, financial consulting, operational, marketing.
Ashish, that part I will cover.
Definitely, sir.
So that will be easy, sir, for them, because they will hear from the mouth of chartered accountant. So, sir, basically the difference between MBA and CA you will also see, because the MBA is good in the presentation and the CA is good in the number. Thank you.
Right.
So, but the way Ashish ji is presenting everything, I think it's very loud and clear. Like we are able to understand each and everything.
Yeah, sir. He's the person who is involved in this process since the IFSC authority has set up, and I have managed the things at the central level. So basically, in operation level, and that is very difficult to set up the IFSC in SEZ. Absolutely. Because you will have to fulfill the regulation of the special economic zone. By having the regulation of the special economic zone, you will have to deal with that IFSC. In the whole world, that is not there. The setup is totally different. The act and rules are totally different. But in India, it has been done in the special economic zone. And if you see, presently in the budget, the government has given that the foreign university will come into India, and all other regulations will not be applicable. So that will be happen due to the SEZ only. So in India, you will see the mixing of the IFSC and the SEZ Act, and that will be beneficial for the India itself. Okay, Ashish, you can carry on.
रतन जी, इसलिए तो हम परेशान थे कि हम सिर्फ बजट में पिछले 3-4 सालों से IFSC का कुछ ना कुछ अपडेट सुन रहे हैं, but we are not doing anything. So,
sir, I wanted to tell to the chartered accountant fraternities there, basically. Very few chartered accountant has really come in this field, even though I have taken so many seminars, and I am doing this practice since last 15 years, sir. 2005, 2006, or you can say from 2000. But the inclinations of the chartered accountant in these fields is very low. So that is very important to understand the fields, and at the institute level also, that international transactions has not been given the much attention other than that whatever the local takes and these and accounts and these things. Whereas if you see the international transactions, India is participating only 1% or 2% of the all over world transactions. So you can see how huge opportunity is for India to deal in the international currencies. Okay, Ashish, you can carry on.
रतन जी, एक चीज आप बस मार्जिन समझा देना अपने बिजनेस में, मेरे को लगता है कल से सब ज्वाइन कर लेंगे आपको।
सर उतना भी नहीं समझाऊंगा। Jokes apart, I will tell you everything, sir, because we are very open and we are very transparent. There is the different mindset is required, sir.
Exactly.
The chartered accountant का जो mindset है, उससे really different mindset यहाँ पर लगेगा, sir. So that way, these are those persons who are very open to do the business. Those who are very open to sacrifice their existing. I have let my whole practice and I have gone and ventured in this practice. Correct. So that time the issues were there, how I will make my bread and butter. But no doubt, धीरे हम लोग बढ़ते गए and we have gotten आज अगर मैं सीए होता तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा 15-20 एम्प्लॉय या 50 एम्प्लॉय रख लेते, उसमें भी मेरे को 10 पार्टनर बनाने पड़ते. But here we are, I and Ashish are partners in this whole organizations and we have kept it 225 persons and we are still finding the persons. So these are the different fundamentals, sir. Okay, I will explain you in my presentation. Ashish, you can continue.
Yeah. So Shashankji, this is your question, like in fact, how to set up, where to approach, what is the process? So as I mentioned that IFSC and SEZ. So what has happened is, sir, IFSC government did not create a separate law for incorporation. They took basically a piece from the SEZ Act. Out of the SEZ Act, an IFSC was framed. So that's the reason there are two authorities for the approval as of now. One is SEZ authority and one is IFSC authority. And that's the reason there are mixture of approvals which are required from both the authorities. SEZ concept was settled one, there were regulations which were there was custom process which were there, and it was separate area altogether was already there. And GIFT City is an SEZ, multi-services SEZ, and that is the reason IFSC is a part of it. So one more misconception I would like to clear, that in GIFT City, there is no separate demarcation in the building that this building would be IFSC, this building would be SEZ. It's like your neighbor, the adjacent neighbor could be SEZ unit, your adjacent neighbor could be IFSC unit. It is a mix and match of both. In case of SEZ unit, the only regulator would be SEZ authority. In case of IFSC, there would be two authorities approval would be required. One is SEZ and one is IFSC authority. That's the only difference. And second is the difference from the exemption point of view. SEZ unit were getting income tax exemption, income tax holiday under section 10AA, whereas IFSC units are covered under section 80LA. And that's how there's a difference from the income tax point of view. Now, with respect to setting up of the unit, the first and foremost thing is GIFT City, as I mentioned, is a developer. The model of development of GIFT City is different from other developers. GIFT City allots development rights to the co-developers. And a co-developer is a person who develops the building infrastructure and then lease it out to the unit holders. So there are three co-developers present there as of now in GIFT City. One is Hiranandani Group, one is Brigade Group, and one is ATA Savvy, which is a local Ahmedabad-based developer. So all these three developers have constructed their building and they are leasing out to various units. The office sizes ranges from 400-500 square feet to 20,000 square feet is a per floor plate basically. Then there are companies who are having 4 lakh square feet space, 2 lakh square feet, 500, 200, whatever number of seats or area in square feet you need, you can get the space. So this is the first step, that identify space and get the allotment from the co-developers located in GIFT City. So whenever you deal with any of your client, you can understand their business requirement, and you can approach the co-developers in GIFT City and ask them to allot the office in the name of the client. Now, once you get the space identification done, if you are setting up as a branch, not as a separate legal entity there, and if the regulation permits branch setup, then you can directly go to this step. But if the regulation says that you need to create an wholly owned subsidiary, because different regulations have different requirements. So if in that case, the next step would be apply for name availability and then submit the incorporation document. This step is very important because the company which would be created if you see the Spice Plus forms and all, in that there is a separate section for IFSC unit or IFSC company. You need to select that radio button. Once you select that radio button as an IFSC unit, the requirement of the forms and the conditions would change. And that's how the company gets incorporated. In case of AIF, trust is also allowed. In case of aircraft leasing also, trust is allowed. So trust by default is now allowed in all the business format. Thereafter, the next step is application with the SEZ authorities. This is a normal SEZ application in the forms prescribed under SEZ rules regulation. And this will be followed by a meeting called Unit Approval Committee meeting, UAC meeting, which happens every month, and wherein they interview your proposal and grants the approval to you. Once this approval is issued, that is SEZ letter of approval, which is called as LOA, letter of approval. Thereafter, you can proceed with the application for IFSCA, International Financial Services Center Authority, for business activity. So suppose if you want to act as a capital market intermediary, you need to apply in the respective forms along with the supporting document to IFSCA for capital market intermediary. Similarly, for aircraft leasing, bullion exchange unit, member basically, or any other type of business activity you want to do. So now there are two approvals. So one is this LOA from SEZ authorities, and on the basis of this will be subject to IFSC authority approval. And IFSC authority would not issue any approval before the SEZ authority approval comes into play. So IFSC authority grants business approval, and thereafter you need to execute a document called bond cum legal undertaking. This is another important document which is, though it is only on a stamp paper, but it gives the right to the government that in the event of any default by you, government reserves the right to recover that amount from you. And the last is, similarly to SEZ, you also need to obtain import-export code. If it is a branch, then amendment in the existing import-export code. GST registration would be separate for SEZ also, because as of now also in SEZ, separate GST is required. And then for stamp duty exemption, there is an eligibility certificate issued by the Development Commissioner Office. Again, here, there is a single window mechanism. For stamp duty exemption under state government policy, you need not go to state government. Instead, the Development Commissioner is empowered by the state government to issue such certificate, and merely on the basis of such certificate, the lease deed for the premises would be registered without stamp duty. That is the beauty of single window mechanism there. Okay, now moving further from the step-by-step setup guidelines, and first type of activity what I would like to cover is aircraft leasing entities in IFSC. If somebody wants to set up aircraft leasing entity in IFSC, before we proceed, I just give you a two-liner background as I mentioned initially also.
Sorry to interrupt. Yes, आपने जो इससे पहले डिस्कस किया था कि मेरे को जीएसटी नंबर की भी जरूरत पड़ेगी, मेरा एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन, अगर मेरा सारा ही 100% एक्सपोर्ट है, तो क्या मुझे ये जीएसटी नंबर की जरूरत पड़ेगी क्या?
यस सर, क्योंकि एग्जम्पशन में भी जीरो रेटेड सप्लाई होती है.
ओके,
सो इट्स जस्ट लाइक एन एक्सपोर्ट. So whenever any Indian party bills onto the IFSC unit, it is tantamount to interstate supply, but it is zero rated. Okay. The system recognizes that as a zero rated supply.
तो आपको जीएसटी नंबर तो लेना ही है और आईएससी भी लेना ही लेना है.
आईएससी लेना ही लेना है, क्योंकि all inward and import or export transaction, even for services, will happen in foreign currency.
अच्छा, कोई मैंने गलती से सर्विस गुजरात में लोकल दे दी, उस केस में क्या होता है? टैक्सेबिलिटी
आईएनआर में दी, आईएनआर में या फॉरेन करेंसी में?
सर आईएनआर में दे दी
तो सर देयर आर पेनल प्रोविजंस आल्सो.
ओके ओके, मतलब हम दे ही नहीं सकते, आप कह रहे हैं?
हाँ, अलाउड ही नहीं है. बेसिकली ये आपको ये मान के चलना है सर, यू आर सिटिंग इन सिंगापुर.
ओके, सो मैंने
व्हेन यू ट्रीट योरसेल्फ, पार्डन मी सर,
रेंट पे कर दिया आईएनआर में, जैसे जिस बिल्डिंग में
अलाउड है,
क्योंकि वो
सर एक्सपेंसेस, all expenses are allowed in INR, but the inward remittance, the revenue should be in foreign currency mandatorily.
Okay, मतलब इंडिया से पैसा आना चाहिए, जाए तो कैसे भी.
हाँ.
Okay, okay, got it.
So moving back to aircraft leasing business, just a background to this. As I mentioned that 50% of the worldwide leasing happens from Ireland, even though the country-wise it's very small in size. But the taxation rate was very low there. It was combined taxation rate was 3%. And 75 years, since last 75 years, even in Indian skies right now, around 1,000 aircrafts are there. And another 1,000 aircraft are going to be introduced in next 10 years time, because every airline has ordered 100, 200 aircraft already. Now, when this aircraft comes into, nobody gets the aircraft under the ownership in India, because the duty rates are very high. If it is a private category, but if it is a scheduled category aircraft, none of the airline generally spends in aircraft, and they generally get it on lease only. And that's how, when the business is not good, they again surrender the lease and all. Similar kind of setup government has set up in GIFT City, wherein who can become an aircraft leasing entity or who can set up an aircraft leasing entity. So it is an Indian company can also promote under ODI regulation. Indian investors under LRS scheme, they can promote, they can fund actually. And then foreign company, person resident outside India or NRI. It could be a mix of both. All these entities can set up, all these parties can combine, put together, or individually set up a unit in IFSC. One of the most important requirement to this is the minimum capital requirement is $200,000. And this should be introduced before you start the business operation from that unit, or within 1 year from the date of the registration by the IFSC authority. Now, once this entity is created, which is a centralized entity, what they would do, on one side, they would get the aircraft on lease or ownership basis from OEMs outside India like Airbus, Boeing, Tecnam, Phantom, all these manufacturers are there. They buy the aircraft outright, or they get it on lease from the master lessors located outside India. In lieu of that, they would be paying either the price of the aircraft or the lease rental, which is called as lease-in model. Outward, what they would do is they would be leasing the aircraft to any of the NSOP. NSOP means non-schedule operators. SOP means schedule operators in India or outside India, either on lease. So basically this will be on lease only, because this entity is meant for leasing only. And what they can do with this, they can lease. So this is, as of now, which is allowed is operating lease. No finance lease is allowed as of now, because finance lease has different issues wherein RBI will also come into in picture. But as of now, operating lease is allowed. So operating lease, they can give for aircraft, helicopter, engines and parts thereof. They can also do aircraft asset management and any other activity which may be permitted by IFSC authority from time to time. This is the typical entity structure or setup.
एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन मेरा, क्योंकि थोड़ा सा मैं रिलेट करता हूँ एयरक्राफ्ट कंपनी से. अगर मैं इंडिया में एयरक्राफ्ट्स को ऑपरेट कर रहा हूँ, मेरा कोई भी बेनिफिट आईएफएससी में कंपनी को ऑपरेट करने का, बिकॉज प्लेन्स आर कमिंग फ्रॉम आउटसाइड इंडिया ओनली. So
will it be on lease or will it be on outright purchase?
It lease.
So अगर आप लीजिंग एंटिटी आईएफएससी में बनाते हैं तो सर देयर आर न्यूमरस बेनिफिट्स, जहां पे इनकम टैक्स से लेकर सारी चीजें एग्जेम्प्टेड है. वो नेक्स्ट स्लाइड्स सर 3 स्लाइड्स आर फॉर दैट ओनली.
ओके, चलिए मैं
So before we proceed, so one is like eligibility of the applicant. So here it cannot be set up as a branch. It will be a separate subsidiary, and it can be set up in the form of a company, limited liability partnership, trust, or any other form. One important requirement that the promoter should be from FATF compliant jurisdiction, that is Financial Action Task Force compliant jurisdiction. So to curb onto the dirty money flowing into the system. Minimum capital requirement, as I mentioned, $200,000, but this should be infused within 12 months from the date of the registration or before you start any of the business from there. What all activities are permitted? As I mentioned, as of now, it's operating lease which is permitted. Sale and lease back is also permitted. I think, sir, somebody raised hands.
Just a second, sir. I'll check. Rakesh ji, एक मिनट. Kritika, can you allow me as a co-host so that I can? I think Ashish ji, you are also the co-host, so you can allow to talk if, yeah.
Just a sec.
Rakesh ji, do you have any question? Madhur ji?
Mr. Rakesh and Mr. Madhur Rastogi.
राकेश जी, do you have any question? I think कभी-कभी गलती से भी प्रेस हो जाता है. आप प्लीज कंटिन्यू करिए, मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ आप एक बार चैट पे लिख दीजिएगा राकेश जी, मधु जी, अगर कोई भी प्रॉब्लम है तो.
Okay. So sale and lease back भी allowed है सर यहाँ से, and it can be done for aircraft, helicopter, it can be also done for engines, parts thereof, and similar kind of setup would also come for ship leasing, which you might have seen in the recent budget also. So ships, yachts, vessels, barges, anything on terms of ship leasing. So the regulations for ship leasing are yet to be issued, but yes, of course, the income tax and other exemptions are granted. Okay, this is what I was talking about, sir. What are the benefits? If you set up from GIFT City, then the entity which is set up in GIFT City as a leasing entity, when they lease into India, so first of all, what will happen is the entity in GIFT City would be a leasing entity. They can get the aircraft on an outright basis or on lease-in model from outside India. They can further sublease it to Indian either NSOP or schedule operator or flight training institutes in India. But whatever lease rental they would be generating from these entities in India, first of all, that should be in foreign currency. But this income, what you would be generating in IFSC unit, would be 100% exempted from income tax for a period of 10 consecutive years out of a block of 15 years. और यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा सर एक प्लान रहता है, क्योंकि एयरक्राफ्ट का डेप्रिसिएशन जो है सर, which is allowed at the rate of 40%. So लगभग 5 years में आपका 92% डेप्रिशिएट हो जाता है. And thereafter, people will start claiming income tax exemption, that is 6th year to 15th year. So typically you are enjoying tax holiday for entire 15 years. Then MAT is applicable at the rate of 9%, since it will be a separate subsidiary, so MAT is applicable. Then tax depreciation is allowed at the rate of 40% WDV. And then this was the amendment done in 2019, by virtue of which dividend distribution tax initially was exempted for IFSC, but government changed the regulation for dividend distribution tax to be levied in the hands of the shareholders, and that's where it is now taxable in the hands of shareholders, even if it is non-resident or resident, depending on the scenario. Interest expense is allowed even if related party transaction is there, it is allowed at the arm's length transaction payment. There is no withholding tax on the interest payment by IFSC based unit to outside India financer. So that is another advantage. Then withholding tax on lease rental. As of now, it is 2%. The reason being, this is a system issue as of now, not from the government regulation perspective, because under the same income tax gateway, government needs to make it zero, but it depends on during which period a unit would be enjoying the 100% taxation. Suppose if units start exemption from second year, how would Indian tax department know that yes, these are during the tax holiday period? So that's where they are coming up with an automated system so that it gets merged with. But when IFSC unit is paying any lease rentals to foreign lessors as lease-in model, then there is no withholding tax again. And this is the most important provision out of this. As I mentioned, that your aircraft value gets depreciated to the tune of 92% typically in 5 years on a 40% WDV basis. Now, suppose if the aircraft cost is 100 crores, it get depreciated to 92 crores, 8 crore basically over a period of 5 years. If the aircraft is being sold for a cost of sale price of 30 crores in 6th year, in India, you are supposed to pay capital gain tax onto that. But in IFSC, that is also exempted, and the aircraft can be sold to an Indian buyer, can be sold to a foreign buyer. It is immaterial. And then GST on the lease rental, it is 100% exempted. Not for Indian party. Indian party would be continuing to pay the GST as per normal procurement from Ireland. Whatever goods they procure in IFSC, that is 100% custom duty exemption. And then stamp duty is also exempted on procurement of aircraft, any business transaction, sale of aircraft that is exempted for a period of 10 years from 2020. Any question with respect to aircraft?
हाँ डेफिनेटली आशीष जी। आशीष जी इसमें दो चीजें, एक तो IFSC के पास लीज पे प्लेन आ गया, ठीक है, सो नाउ इट इज फ्लाइंग इन इंडिया, so now the income is earned by the IFSC would be in the INR only. So
no, so the IFSC unit would be leasing the aircraft to 3 different parties. One is non-schedule operator, one is schedule operator, or one could be flying training institutes.
Okay.
Now this operators would be earning in INR because they are an Indian party, but when they would make the payment to IFSC unit for the lease rental, that would be in foreign currency.
But why would be that is in foreign currency? Because that is already another Indian only.
But yeah, so that's the reason, sir, because as I mentioned initially that IFSC unit is a not resident in India, and that's the reason all these exemptions are being granted. So आपको ये सोचना है सर, आप आयरलैंड की जगह, मतलब IFSC की जगह आयरलैंड में या सिंगापुर बैठे हुए हैं और वहां से वो ट्रांजैक्शन कर रहे हैं.
Okay, but I have to first purchase, like as an Indian, I have to first purchase the foreign currency and transfer the foreign currency to.
No. So there are two things, sir. If it is a schedule operator, you would already get the foreign currency from your passengers. If it is a non-schedule operator, yes, वहां पे उनको convert कराना होगा. But non-schedule operator जब convert कराता है तो उनको भी काफी सारे exemption मिल जाते हैं, because the cost of operation in IFSC for leasing entity is at least 25% lower, क्योंकि income tax exempted है. तो वो benefit certainly IFSC unit should pass on some benefit to the lessee in India.
Okay. And GST जो है आपने कहा 5% as of now, definitely. But ये the person who is billing उसको तो रिवर्स चार्ज में पे करना होगा ना?
नहीं, इसका सर अमेंडमेंट आ चुका है लास्ट ईयर, अमेंडमेंट आ चुका है सर नवंबर दिसंबर में, वेरिन हम लोगों ने उसको फॉरवर्ड चार्ज पे करवा लिया है.
ओके,
क्योंकि बोथ आर रजिस्टर्ड एंटिटीज.
ओके, बोथ आर रजिस्टर्ड एंटिटीज. सो यहाँ पे मैं सिंगापुर नहीं मानूंगा इधर.
इसलिए नहीं मान रहे क्योंकि सर ये एक बड़ा इशू आ रहा था जीएसटी में, दोनों रजिस्ट्रेशन में है. इसके लिए रिवर्स चार्ज तो आज भी भरता है सर एनएसओपी. So, but reverse charge में issue क्या है? The supplier is not located in the taxable territory. GST law में पूरे whole of India को taxable माना गया है, including Jammu and Kashmir.
Correct.
And that is the reason.
Okay, तो इस पे taxability उसकी GST के अंदर तो हो ही गई.
और वो forward charge पे हो गई है सर, instead of reverse charge.
तो SEZ के जैसे provisions हैं, same मेरे provisions IFSC के लिए भी लगते हैं GST के लिए.
Yes.
तो इसका मतलब रिवर्स चार्ज भी अलाउड होगा?
रिवर्स चार्ज एग्जेम्प्टेड है. अगर सर IFSC यूनिट के ऊपर कोई लायबिलिटी आ रही है, अगर कोई लॉयर सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहा है या सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी है, सो इन दोस केसेस दोस आर नोटिफाइड सर्विसेज अंडर GST फॉर रिवर्स चार्ज. बट इन बीइंग एन IFSC यूनिट देयर इज एन एग्जेम्पशन already available, being an upfront zero rated supply.
Okay.
But when they are selling the services in India, that is a domestic sale of services from GST point of view, and hence IGST is applicable.
Okay. So on every service, I am charging IGST.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Done, Ashish ji. Thank you so much.
Okay. So moving to next section, that is AIF, alternate investment funds.
Sorry, Rakesh Singh ji was asking which places are FATF compliance jurisdiction.
So typically, sir, Pakistan is not, of course. As of now, Iran is also out of this list because of US sanctions and all. Other countries like Afghanistan, there are control restrictions. So FATF is who has fulfilled the. So there are two kinds of FATF. One is Caribbean FATF, C FATF. And one is FATF, like US, Europe, Germany, all the countries in US, Europe are FATF. North, basically Pakistan side area, Kazakhstan and all those are under sensitive list. Panama up to a greater extent.
Okay, got it, sir. Got it. Please carry on.
Yes, sir. Moving on to the alternate investment funds, this is another one of the biggest category under GIFT City right now. So far, so good. Around 30 AIF has been set up in GIFT City, and all big companies, right from DSP to Avendus to Zerodha in the name of True Beacon, Kotak. So all big companies, including IIFL, Motilal Oswal, SMC, everybody is into AIF segment now. Multiple advantages. So similar to India, there are 3 categories of AIF there. One is category 1, cat 2, cat 3. Category 1 typically invest as an early stage venture or in the startup or venture capitalist. Category 2 invest as a private equity in the debt, in the form of a debt fund or equity. And category 3 typically invest into equities and derivatives, basically, which generally trades onto the exchanges also. So these are 3 types of AIF there. They can roll out different types of schemes. I'll directly jump to this. What is the minimum condition for setting up of an AIF there? So the minimum corpus which is required is $3 million, which is 30 lakh USD in IFSC for all 3 categories of fund actually. And this is the criteria wherein 3 lakh USD, 33 million USD, when I talk about, this should be the minimum size of the fund. The fund could be of more than that, but should not be lesser than this. And what is the minimum investment criteria? So I'll also come to who all can invest, that is also there. But the minimum investment is, if it is an employee or director of the AIF or its investment manager, then they can invest minimum of $40,000 with per tranche of investment. And then for other investor, it is $150,000. And it could be in the form of a trust, company, limited liability partnership, or body corporate. But 80% of the AIF are being set up in the form of a trust. There are advantages to it. And 20% of the AIF are set up in the form of a limited liability partnership. And there are reasons for it. So trust, when they set up as a trust, the trust have that liberty to roll out separate schemes. For it could be, one could be India focus scheme, one could be equity focus, one could be debt focus, one could be outbound investment. But that liberty is not there in the limited liability partnership. In limited liability partnership is generally being set up in cases wherein only 1 or 2 investors are there and not multiple investors, and they want to roll out only 1 or 2 schemes, one scheme basically. That's the advantage of limited liability, and the compliances are lesser in limited liability partnership as compared to trust. Then tenure should be minimum 3 years. That should be the minimum tenure of the trust. And there's a requirement to appoint a custodian. In case of category 1, if the corpus exceeds 70 million USD, same for cat 2, but in cat 3, irrespective of the size of the fund, whether it is 3 million or 4 million, but you need to appoint custodian because that deals on behalf of multiple investors. And there's a requirement that there's a continuing sponsors interest should be maintained. But this voluntary word has been introduced for those funds which are migrating from Mauritius or other foreign jurisdiction to IFSC. But if it is being set up by an Indian individual, then there is a mandatory requirement of continuing interest as a sponsor cum manager. Okay, this is the interesting part. Who all can invest into AIF? Who all can set up? Sandeep ji, you are saying something. So not audible.
आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही संदीप जी? नहीं आ रही सर, नहीं आ रही. हाँ, please Ashish ji.
Yeah. So when I mentioned that who all can set up AIF or who all can be an investor to AIF, it could be foreign investor, Indian investor. Now, foreign investor again bifurcated into different kinds. Foreign investor, there is no restriction at all because they don't fall into the ambit or umbrella of RBI at all. And they don't have to follow FEMA guidelines when they are coming to IFSC. Unlike in India, IFSC, they would have to follow only IFSC authority regulations. When it comes to Indian investor, In last year budget, AIF investment has been allowed under LRS because that is being treated under security norms. So under current LRS or ODI regulation, you are allowed to invest into the securities of the foreign company. But AIF investment is also treated as a security, and that's the reason, AIF units are also treated as a security, and that's the reason Indian investor up to a limit of $250,000, if it is an individual, can invest into AIF situated in GIFT City. If it is a company, then again different norms, 400% of the net worth and all. When it is a financial institution in India, then again different norms. But all these people are allowed to either set up or invest into AIF in GIFT City. So how it is being set up? So there is an umbrella again, which is IFSC AIF entity, which could be in the form of a trust, which could be in the form of an limited liability partnership. If it is in the form of a trust, then they also need to appoint trustee. They also need to appoint custodian in case of Cat 3 AIF. And one side, there will be an investment manager or sponsor. Now, this investment manager or sponsor entity could be the entity which is having the branch in India. Which is having already a license from SEBI, and then they can set up as a branch. If the promoters of manager entity are Indian entities. If it is being funded from the foreign entity, then there is no restriction. And then again, as I mentioned, they can deal into all these categories, which could be the securities listed in IFSC, listed in foreign jurisdiction, or any other regulations which they want to follow. This is the typical process for setting up, which we already discussed, but here there would be different process. Instead of company incorporation, it will be trust registration, and the trust registration would happen at sub-registrar office in Gandhinagar. And there will be two entities, one for manager entity, this is manager entity, and one for fund. These are the fees for registration and schemes related fees. Moving on to one of the last segment, that is bullion exchange, which is most talked about in the recent times. So everybody might have seen that there's a news being talked about, which is a very big news, that jewelers are being allowed to import gold from a unit in IFSC. What is it all about actually? As of now, gold in India, or particularly gold in India, can only be imported by nominated agencies, that is banks. Nobody else other than banks are allowed to import gold in India. But with this bullion exchange coming into, the government, including DGFT, including IFSC authority and SEZ authority, have come up with the regulation which allows qualified jewelers. I repeat the word qualified jewelers. There are criteria to it, but you can consider every jeweler would fall into that criteria. It's a 25 crores of net worth and 3-4 years of profitable and the same line of business and all. But qualified jewelers are also allowed to become a customer. They are also allowed to become a member of the IFSC Bullion International Bullion Exchange, and they can import the gold in their name in India. As of now, it is being done through the banks, which is nominated agencies. So when we talk about the bullion exchange, who can become a member? First of all the banking units which are already there in GIFT City. Various banks are there which are called as IBU, IFSC banking units. Then there are subsidiaries of Indian entities which can set up as a member. So suppose if there is a member of NAC, BSC, MCX, NCDX, they can also set up as a unit there in the form of a subsidiary in the International Bullion Exchange. Nbfc can also set up as a subsidiary in the form of a broker as a bullion exchange. And then banks which are already authorized by RBI, and then qualified jewelers can also become a broker there. What they can do, qualified jewelers will be allowed to trade in their name only. But when they are acting as a broker, they will also be allowed to trade on other behalf. There are criteria depending on different requirement, and this is one more biggest enabler, that refinery government is also pushing for refinery to be set up in GIFT City, the bullion refinery. Who all can be the customer? When I mentioned, so a person resident in India having a person resident outside India having net worth not less than 25,000 USD, person resident outside India who are corporate or institutional entities, and the net worth should not be less than 500,000 USD, and person resident in India who are qualified resident individual under LRS norms, that is $250,000 if it is other than jewelers, but they can trade. They cannot clear the gold in their name, but qualified jewelers alone can trade also, can clear the gold in their name, like after paying the applicable custom duties from gift IFSC to India. They can remove the gold physically. Here they can just trade the other person, but the settlement would happen in cash on the expiry date. These are the net worth prescribed for various type of members. If it is trading member, means normal trading member would be a net worth of whatever being specified by the Bullion Exchange in the time to come. If it is a foreign entity, it will be 135,000 USD and so on. That's all from my presentation. I think I took 90 minutes more than the scheduled time.
But it was great to hear you, sir. Welcome, Ratanji.
Thank you, sir.
So I think questions we take up right now or after Ratanji's presentation?
I think let's take after Ratanji, and Sunil ji just raised the hand. So Sunil Kumar Gupta ji, do you want to say anything? Please unmute your mic if you have any questions. Okay, or please post your question in the chat column. Accordingly, we can take it later. So I think Ratanji is starting another session now.
Sir, I will not take much time because Ashish has covered everything. I just wanted to give.
आप तो सर तजुर्बा भी शेयर करेंगे, वो हमारे लिए नॉलेज है, वो हमारे लिए इंसाइट है।
वही करता हूँ सर, मैं वही करता हूँ, बेटर रहेगा।
प्लीज सर, प्लीज।
आई थिंक मेरा स्क्रीन दिख रहा है? यू आर सीइंग माय स्क्रीन सर?
हाँ जी, प्रेजेंटेशन इज ओपनिंग अप आई थिंक।
So basically, I have cleared my chartered accountant in 1996, and thereafter, every chartered accountant do either he go in service or either he go in practice. तो मुझे unfortunately service नहीं मिली. I have tried myself कि मैं वहाँ पर service कर लूँ, पर I have not got that opportunity, and then thereafter I decided I start my practice. So retainership करके थोड़ा करके हम लोग Bombay mein I was doing my final examination in Bombay. So I passed final examination, then thereafter I started that practice. And then thereafter, and that time also I was an opportunist practitioner. Like that, if something is happening new in India, I remember in 1999, at that time government of India, through the Ministry of Commerce, they have started one online process of IC code. So then I was seeing, why not this may be the practice for doing the online IC code. So वहाँ पर जहाँ पर हम लोग रहते थे वहाँ पर एक cyber cafe था. So in 1999 I got to cyber cafe, I got that information, and I approached to the all exporters through some books, and I written a letter or I send the mail to that time mail was not there. I send that SMS or whatever that way, and I got some clients, and particularly in diamond market. There were 2 buildings all over India. All over India's diamond market are concentrated on Mumbai in Opera House. So I gone there and I done that the work of IC updations in the system, DGFT system. हम लोग 500 रुपए चार्ज करते थे, तो 100 का खर्चा होता था हमारा, 300-400 रुपए मिल जाते थे. So we were happy that we have done it lot of things at that time. Then thereafter through the diamond clients. That time one budget has come with that Mr. Sinha has given the budget, and there he has told that the sunset clause is going to be announced for ATHSC exporters income tax exemption. वहाँ पर सारे exporters में थोड़ी खलबली मच गई, और जो diamond में basically those who are very big exporters, crores of rupees they were doing and they were getting the benefit of income tax exemption. They were told why not, they have called me and they asked me why not यानी कि you do the 10A and 10B में कुछ उस टाइम पे 10 साल का exemption था. If you see यानी कि being a chartered accountant, you all that time STPI registration भी बहुत हुआ था because IT person has also rushed to the STPI registration, and the other persons who were manufacturing, they have rushed to the EOU registration. So that time I got the opportunity to do that EOU registration, and मैंने कुछ 21 फाइल की थी उधर. एक महीने के अंदर everything you will have to do it. So I started from 1st March, sorry, that time the budget was there on 28th February, and I started that work. First 2-3 days हम लोगों ने marketing जैसे मुलाकात की, बातचीत की, and then after I have gone to Surat, and from there यानी कि I have gone to the Kandla. The Kandla special economic zone were there. I was not knowing what the SEZ word is there. I was not knowing what the custom is there, what the excise is there. I was purely doing the practice of income tax and audit. So that was very new field to me, and through the website, through the SEZ office, through the exim policy, I got it some glimpse of what is the SEZ application, and then I have gone to Kandla of 3-4 persons application, and then we gone there, we get the approval. Once we got the approval, after 10 days, the government has stopped this because in diamond, you cannot do the valuation of the scrape or the wastage. Because if you bring 100 carat diamond of rough diamond, the exact carat of finished product will be, I think, 4 or 5 gram or 10 gram. So 90% was the wastage. So in SEZ and EOU rules, there were the contradictions were there. So that time, all licenses which has been given to the diamond exporters has been stopped or stayed. Then after we gone to ministry, and then clarification has came, because in the trade also itself, the EOU can, in the diamond, that will be happen, because the rough diamond, the bringing of the polished diamond from rough diamond is a process where 90-80% wastage is there. So that time I got the registration of near about 21 companies registration, and then thereafter I have gone in this practice because I found that is a lucrative. बहुत पैसा मिल गया था उस टाइम पे, हमको 25-50 हजार भी एक एप्लीकेशन में मिला तो बहुत हो गया, because we were not having the money. I am from very humble background, from the small village of Rajasthan in district Bhilwara. Then my place was Gangapur. So I was not expecting that I will get that type of opportunity in the Mumbai, and I will got that things. Then thereafter I decided that why not make this practice being a practice area. I was doing CA. I told my other person that you become partner to me. I will do that practice. You will do the accounts and auditing. But nobody has given me the confidence that I wanted to get it done. कुछ CA practice में बोला नहीं, audit, bank audit में तुम भी जाओ, ये भी जाओ, तो that way you can not concentrate on the practice where I wanted to go. And I was the illiterate persons in this line, because I was not having the exposure of excise, I was not having the exposure of custom. I have not read the exim policy earlier than that, where I started to do the practice. But God grace, we have gone through each and every work. We have gone through the custom. We have gone through, and today we have got the license of custom also, because CHA license is there. And one good thing I have done it is I have taken the partner as an MBA, not as a CA, because ultimately this line is also a perception. This line is also a licensing. This line is also a convincing to the authority, convincing to the clients, because you will have to get the clients crores of rupees. The client's materials comes, and you will have to get it inside into the SEZ or inside to the IFSC under 0 rated. So if just like that, if you see, Ashish has told that the aircraft leasing, we have got the 90% clients in the aircraft leasing, and we have got it done, the one aircraft of the Jet Set Go into the SEZ. But if you see from the legal perspective, from the custom perspective, so many obstacles were there. And we are told to the authority, and presently we have that say that we can approach to the authority, we can approach to the ministry, that these are the rules that you are required to be changed. Otherwise, it will not possible. So they are also changing it. So many notifications are coming, because you, I think, may be not aware, because this is not a day-to-day practice of your area. But I say you that in this area, a lot of work is going to be happen. And in PMO, Prime Minister Office, a separate cell has been incorporated as IFSC, and that share is given the highest preference. So whatever the way it is, Ashish has shown you that these are the activities which is going to be come into SEZ. Everything has come. Now I will tell you what the new things is coming, and this is very encouraging. And somebody has told you what is the opportunity for chartered accountant in IFSC. I told you that IFSC आप लोगों के लिए ही बना है. I don't know why chartered accountants are not doing practice. क्योंकि फाइनेंस का फील्ड है और अगर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट उस पर काम नहीं करेंगे, इस फील्ड को आप प्रैक्टिस एरिया नहीं बनाएंगे तो फिर किसको बनाएंगे आप? So the things are like that. Everything is happening in the SEZ or IFSC. The chartered accountant role will be there, and chartered accountant role may be there as a regulatory, or in regulatory there may be a very less role, because government is going to be automated every process, and government is going to release the compliances regularly. And I think in the SEZ, IFSC, they are bringing such type of platform that every permission is done by one forms. So ultimately, whatever the practice area in the IFSC for chartered accountant will not be a regulatory aspects, but being a business aspects, being a advisory aspects, being a just like that. I think Agrawalji has told how to invest the money which you are lying in Indian accounts. And that is very important, because now the time has come that the global economy has come, because the global person are coming into India. They are investing in Indian every type of industry, every type of mode. Just like that, they are investing in share market. They are investing in other area. Whereas the Indians are also going outside, because if you see from the perspective, and I told you the foreign currency market is huge. India is not, I think, 2 or 3% of the foreign currency market of worldwide. So you can see, and from the perspective of this practice, IFSC, there is a huge scope. Moon is only one company, so many other multinational company has come, but again, lot of scopes and opportunities are there for chartered accountant. Now, how they have to do it? They will have to open an office there, because without opening an office there, you cannot get the feeling of that area. Now, so by this, my opening remarks, I start my presentation. I will not take much time. I will show you what the agenda which I have set it. What is the SEZ? What is the IFSC? And I will give you the case study, basically how we have been approached and how we have entered in the IFSC. Basically, Bombay Stock Exchange wanted to set up an international exchange in SEZ, and they were not finding a good consultant who can understand the SEZ very well.
Sir, Ratan sir, your screen is not visible. I think let me share then, sir. Just one.
It's okay.
No, it is stuck on the presentation file. Let me open. Yeah, I think you can see, right, sir?
Yes, it's visible now.
But Ashish, you will have to make the presentation. It is in presentation way, no?
I just switch
okay,
on.
next, Ashish. Next. Yeah. Okay. So these are the agenda which I have set up for this presentation. So that is what is SEZ, what is IFSC. Ashish has covered so many things, so I will not take much time, because I know, Yaniki, your time is also over, and I have been given the bonus time. So next, Ashish. I have spoken, Yaniki, on these matters to the CNBC also sometimes. Now, as you see, the SEZ is a duty-free enclave. It is deemed to be a foreign territory. Economic law are more liberal than that whatever the law are there in the Indian territory. This concept is brought by the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee and the Commerce Minister. They have gone to China, and seeing the China's economic growth, the India has decided to bring the SEZ Act and rules. So to attract foreign direct investment, it has brought. Again, the SEZ is deemed to be airport, port, and land custom station. So all custom law required for the port is also available there. Financial services can be set up, manufacturing can be set up, service or training, whatever the way government has written in the rules will be allowed to be set up. Next. Again, what is the IFSC? IFSC is also a terms has been defined in the SEZ Act first time. International Finance Service Center in 2005 Act, and in the section 18 it has been broadly defined. Then thereafter, on the basis of that, the IFSC Act is been brought by the government in 2018-19. So on the basis of that, that all IFSC has been centralized to take the permission from authority only. You need not to go to RBI, you need not to go to, because a foreign person cannot go to any such type of institution, and you know how difficult to get some permission from RBI, SEBI or IRDA. But what the government has made it, the chairman has been made by in the authority, but all the members, they have made the members of that IFSC authority. So whenever the decision taken in the concurrence with that SEBI and whatever the financial regulator established in India, again IFSC will be treated, Ashish has told you, that it is a non-resident person resident outside India. So all the rules and regulations as per the law it has been established in India will be governed, treating like that, that if you are transacting it to the IFSC, then it will be treated as a person resident outside India. Next. I give you that the BSC, Bombay Stock Exchange, we have done it, that transaction. So if you see the company, just Ashish has told you what that area is there where that the permission and setting up required. So first we have gone the company incorporation. So a chartered accountant can be involved in the company formation. Here that in ROC, the prefix and affix is required to be put as a IFSC. Otherwise, in other arena, just like that, if you are going for the auxiliary businesses, you need not to go for the separate company. But if you are going for the share market or SEBI related activities, the permission is required for setting up a new corporate entity. And there should be IFSC, what should be there. So we have gone and incorporated earlier that Bombay Stock Exchange IFSC Limited or Bombay Stock Exchange Clearing Corporation IFSC Limited. So bracket mein that IFSC word was there. Then thereafter we have gone to the SEZ authority and we have filed the application. I will tell you what that application format is there, so that all the chartered accountants who wanted to come into this practice can know, and that format is there. So we have gone to their SEZ authority and we have got it approval. Then thereafter the approval committee meeting happened on 28th September 2016. Within 6 days, the approval committee has happened. Then thereafter issuance of letter, within 2 days, the letter is issued. So that fast the movement is there in the IFSC authority, hassle-free, and very systematically they are bringing in this whole system into the online system. But presently, the physical documentation is required to be made there. Then thereafter, as per the issuance letter of approval, after taking the letter of approval, as per the SEZ Act and rules, you will have to execute a SEZ bond come legal undertaking, where I think those chartered accountants who are practicing presently in SEZ area, they know only that you will have to give the undertaking for taking the duty exemption and to do the exports also from the SEZ. So these are the so many terms and conditions is mentioned. It's a very standard format. You cannot change any line or any words in that undertaking. Then thereafter the GST, earlier it was the service tax, so that we have taken the service tax registration. Otherwise, now the GST registration has come, so you will have to take the GST registration. Again, as you know, section 8 is there. You will have to take a separate SEZ registration for SEZ units, because it makes segregate from the DTA operation to SEZ operation. Even though you are doing the SEZ operation or not, you will have to take the GST registration separately. Then SEBI approval. Naturally, earlier it was SEBI approval. Now they have made it IFSC approval because the regulator has come. Next. These are the companies, very small list we have said you, the share market broker and the other companies we have given the consultancy along with the banks and insurance agencies, government insurance agencies. So many companies now is in pipeline also. Next, Ashish. Next. Again, Ashish has given you the comparison between the SEZ units and IFSC units. So the major benefit is tax benefits. And here the sunset clause has been introduced. And I don't know what happens after 6 months when the SEZ Act will repeal. So if the SEZ Act will repeal and they will ask the person who wanted to convert their SEZ into a other activity, just like that economic activity zone like that the government will bring. So that time there may be the duty benefits have to be sacrificed. So you can convert into the other area, so that you can give the this property or land on the lease to the DTA person, means local manufacturing companies. So next, so these are the basically activities which is going to be happen. Earlier the concept was there, and now if you feel that something is related to financial activities, you can approach to the authority. Authority will see your proposal. If it is unique proposal or whatever the proposal, then authority can have the power to make any services in the IFSC as an authorized operation. Because if you see any from perspective of this thing, share market, share brokerage, stock exchanges, credit agencies, foreign portfolio investors, custodian, depository, all are part of the IFSC services. So you can go, you can select one things and you can get the approval and you can start the business. But again, Ashish has told you that their business will be totally in foreign currency. The business, even though if I go, I'm in SEZ units, my company is established in Gift City as a SEZ units. But if you, so that we can do the business in both the currencies, but in services also, if you heard that in section 2Z in SEZ Act doesn't allow you to do the business in DTA, means the foreign currency should be required for the IT SEZ unit also, but in IFSC it is a compulsory for all activities. Next. Again, permissible securities, equity shares, depository, debt, currency, whatever all these activities which is there in the Indian market is now government has allowed and allowing also more and more after risk-based assessment, they are allowing it. Next. Again, as Ashish has told you, whom you can do the businesses. First is person not resident in India. So non-resident in India, there is no limit. They can bring whatever money they wanted to bring into SEZ, IFSC, they can do the business. Second, non-resident India. Third is a financial institution resident in India who is eligible under FEMA to invest funds offshore. So that is there. Fourth time Ashish has told you. And the fourth category is there, a person resident in India who is eligible to under FEMA to invest fund offshore $250,000. So that fourth entity can do the businesses. Next. Yes, Ashish has informed you what the way of process of setting up the unit. Next. I have, yes, this is that was the pictorial graph. Now I have given you what is the exactly activities happen in each activities. Next. And this is the process chart of the decision making at Development Commissioner Office. One form app is there in the SEZ Act and rules. So this is very simple. 5,000 rupees demand draft is required to be opened, and you will have, this is the fees for getting the permission from the SEZ authority. Project report is a chartered accountant. There is the opportunity that you can deal in the things that whatever the projection will be there, because your license of the LOA, this is called letter of approval, is given for 5 years. So you will have to make the projections on 5 years. Then certificate of incorporation of MOA affidavit. One affidavit is required to be given to the government of India that you are the genuine company and the terms and conditions, whatever written in the affidavit is just like that. You are giving that whatever the information you will submit to the authority is true and fair. If anything is false, then the government can take the suitable action against you. Then you are required to submit the application of submit proof of the residence. Just like that, your passport, ration card, or this is just for the sake of the identity of the person that whom they are giving the license. If the foreign party is there, then the passport is sufficient for them. Then one conditions are there in the approval condition that your last 3-year balance sheet, if the company is in existence, if the company is very new or greenfield company, then the holding of promoters or their audited balance sheet is required to submit. Next. What the things is given to you, being a chartered accountant, if you wanted to do the practice, you should know that once you get the approval in the minutes of meeting, just like that unit approval committee, you will get a letter of approval for their validity will be 1 year. Again, you will have to understand what is the validity of letter of approval and validity of license. Two different things are there. So the letter of approval where it is been written that this letter of approval is valid within 1 year, you will have to start the production. Means you will have to either start the business in the manufacturing terms, you will have to start the production. In trading terms, you will have to do the exports. But in manufacturing also, the government is is identifying what the start of production, that should be the export. So within 1 year, if you have not started your business, then you can get the 1 year extension by the development commissioner. And again, 1 year extension means 2 year extension can be given by the development commissioner. But beyond 2 years, you will have to go to the board of approval, which is in your own city, Delhi. Again, I have told you that the 3-term extension can be given. And this license, once you started the production, it will be 5 years license. Next. This is very important to understand what the business opportunity can be envisaged from the chartered accountant, and if they are giving their clients to globalize their business. Because I think you heard that Mr. Mukesh Ambani has also invested a lot of money into the different country. Why? Because now the trend is coming that you will have to have the assets in the global environment. So again, this is very important for the chartered accountant to know fundraising in overseas market and foreign exchange. As you are aware about that, in foreign currency, if you are taking the loan, the rate of interest is very low compared to the Indian financing. So you can go there, and if you can get the money from the IFSC companies or IFSC banks, then that can be the opportunity for chartered accountant for getting the loan. Second is asset management and global portfolio diversification. So here, by sitting into India, you can invest in the Apple shares, you can invest in the any other countries hassle-free. You need not to go to again and again RBI. Whatever the funds you have once transferred into the IFSC company, you can invest whatever. You can bring the money, you can send the money, you can invest from one country to another country, one bank to another bank of the international arena. So there will not be an issue. Third is the global wealth management. This is very important, and so many companies are seeing the opportunity, or so many chartered accountant, big firm are seeing the opportunity of global wealth management. Now the Indian entrepreneurs are also become the global entrepreneurs. So their global wealth management can also be done by chartered accountant. Global tax management. This is very important. Those who are practicing in the taxation arena. So whatever the knowledge of the tax law of other countries, and if you require to be set up into SEZ, and if the funds is flowing from India to other to here, and if you don't wanted to interact any with the Indian tax authorities, then you can make a IFSC unit, and you can do the cross-border tax liability. You can manage this thing. I cannot tell you that you can save it, but you can manage whatever the cross-border tax liabilities. Global corporate treasury management. This is very important things, because so many companies are having the offices in so many countries. So in sitting in India, the Indian companies who are global companies can do the treasury management. Global liquidity investment, global assets liability matching. That is very also important things, that one place the assets is more and another place the liability is more. Then the hedging can be done with the inter-country financing. Merger and acquisition. This is also very important, that the transaction of merger and acquisitions can be done smoothly through the IFSC authority, rather than that from sitting into India. Again, corporate banking and so many custodian services, trust services you can do. Next, Ashish. As Ashish has taken this thing, you can also make the financing company. I told you that you can bring the money into India, or you can take the money from the foreign market and to give to your eligible corporate companies through the ECB or whatever the other mode you have. Next, Ashish. Next. This is very simple things I have taken, that what the rate is there. So I think that can be seen through the website also. Each and every activity have there. One thing is there, that this is the international arena, and the charges will be there. Just like that, if you go to Dubai, if you wanted to open an office, if you wanted to take a license there, the huge money is there. Here also, the concept of the global system is there. So wherever you go to there, they will charge the fees into dollars. So as is last slide, you can show that the glimpse. No, earlier slide. This, if you see, what is the fund manager fees is there? Application fees $1,500. Registration fees of category 1 $7,500. Registration 2 $15,000. So registration fee for angel fund. So everything is in dollar. That is the fee structure is there. Next, Ashish. And they can change it also as per the this thing. I just take a few slides on the authority. What the Act say about the IFSC authority. Financial services has been defined. I told you that in the financial services, if anything is fitting, if you are seeing that your client is having that peculiar problem, just like that, one client has come to us. He is having the offices in London, and he used his office from London to do the global tendering business of Indian corporates or Indian PSU. Because in the global tender, only the foreign countries, foreign participation is required. So we are told to IFSC authority why he has to go to London and give the tender, being eligible to be foreign party. You can make, or you can give the approval into IFSC, and you can make them also a global citizen or global person, and you can add the IFSC as a global party. So that type of things you can convince to the authority, and you can add by in the definition. So financial services, marketing, whatever the things is there around the financial services, you can get it done. Next. So many definitions has been given. I will share you that presentation. I will not take you much time. Next. Everything is again financial service. I told you what the financial service is there. Earlier I have read these things, and now in everything you wanted to do the finance, just like that the university which is providing the financial knowledge is also allowed now as per the budget. The ship leasing is also allowed because the leasing is a financial transaction government is under treating. So that is allowed. So whatever the other way, global servicing center, sourcing center, just like that sitting here in India, you wanted to purchase a material from China and wanted to send to the Indonesia, your factory. You did not to bring the material into India destination and then thereafter go there. Only the money will come from here to there. So the center of the money will be in the IFSC, and you can do the transaction. So that is also coming in very soon. Next. Again, the last slide. These are the last. These are the setup of the chairperson and their terms and condition. Because chairperson presently the Injit Srinivas is there. He's been appointed from the finance ministry, and his terms will be 3 years. So ultimately, till the finance ministry appoint the other person, he will be the chairperson, and he's doing very good work for the development of the IFSC. Next. Next. Again, it has been written also in the IFSC Act that how the meeting of the authority will be there. Their minutes is also available on the ifsca.org. So you can go through and you can review all this information is available in the authority website. Next. Next. Some do and don't and FAQ is there. So you can go through that FAQ. If you have the question and answers, you can come to us directly also. And we are happy to present this presentation. And if any question, just some slides is there, Ashish. Okay, what the Moon SEZ services we provide into IFSC. So we are involved in each and every activity of IFSC and the SEZ activity. You cannot select that I can do only this work and I cannot do only this work. So for practicing chartered accountant who wanted to venture into this practice, you will have to see from end to end. You will have to give the guidance to the clients, and clients should not go to the authority. That is the motto should be there. You have to manage, you have to make the relationship with the authority. You have to make relationship with the all custom officers and everything, so that you can provide end to end, just like that. Ashish, previous slides. Previous. Sir, basically you were asking me my growth journey. So I just give you. Yes. So 2006 we have started. I was practicing chartered accountant, but then thereafter I set aside that things and I've gone in this direction. We have set up 2007. We have done it. Pipavav Shipyard Limited, a very big project. Then after we are the government of MIDC, Maharashtra, government of India, Air India. We are the consultant. We are the consultant for GIDC, Gujarat Industrial Development Corporation. So many government organizations who are involved in SEZ, we are providing the services. So we have made our own ERP because automation is very important. I tell every chartered accountant that you will have to make the automation or whatever the tools available, you have to use it. because now in these days tools are very important to do it. Then thereafter in 2015 we have ventured in the IFSC, because that time the IFSC, once the Modi government has come and the GIFT City has come up on the front space, then that time we have opened and we have purchased our own office. We have taken the license and we are doing that things. So we next. These are facts. Next. Thank you, sir. Whatever the questions you can ask to me and Ashish, any questions. We have taken your much time, rather than 1 hour, you have taken 2 hours. Sorry for that. But the field is like that, and we are very fond of that field, and we wanted to expand the knowledge, and we wanted to bring that more and more chartered accountant coming into fields.
Ratanji and Ashishji, I really enjoyed your presentation and your experience. And I can say one Devan Gupta is wanted to ask something. Ashishji, can you enable him to allow him to talk?
Just a sec, sir.
You can. Any
yeah, I have allowed Devanji.
Yeah. Devanji, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. And any more member for any query, first of all? Devanji का ऑडियो कनेक्ट नहीं है लेकिन अभी भी.
Sir, one question has come that I think our both presentation he wanted to get it. So we will share the presentation to Sangji, and he can share it.
Share with everyone.
And at any time, sir, if you wanted to come in this practice area, you can freely contact to us. We will be happy to provide you whatever the knowledge is required, and whenever your study circle want, because now this is the emerging area, sir.
Exactly.
Every day the new things is coming. Every day we are preparing presentation. Every day we are getting new news and information. Just like that, I wanted to share one information that we are also providing so many companies in your area, Noida. So near about we are providing consultancy to Samsung. That new center is bringing. We are providing the consultancy to Brookfield, that who has taken over your Unitech SEZ area. We are providing to the consultancy to aircraft parties who are majority from the Delhi. So lot of things is going on. We will also update you. Our website is going to be updated, and in LinkedIn profile also I share whatever the authorities update, and from my side or our side, my team side update, we share it.
Definitely, Ratanji, and really, it's an eye opener for all of us. And the Gift City, I can say the concept behind the Gift City is very, very unique. And I really say that still so many things has to be developed in the Gift City.
Yes,
like as discussed with Ashish ji also, about the legality, about the jurisdiction, about the code. So Ratanji, if I compare the China IFSC or Singapore IFSC with Indian IFSC, so what is the difference? Like how the legal issues are resolved in China, Singapore, and if I compare with India?
Ashish, you will reply?
So basically, sir, in China, particularly, so there were two jurisdictions. One is Shanghai Financial Center and one is Hong Kong, basically. So Hong Kong is, of course, having the different different system. China is not having separate judicial system, but yes, of course, in Dubai, DIFC has come up with separate code in terms of judicial system, but not for the criminal matters, only for the civil and the company law matters. Singapore, of course, itself is having an international arbitration center worldwide that is very prominent. The same arbitration center is setting up in Gift City also. So the vision of the government so we are also assisting authorities, providing the feedback from the market, trade, and then where is the business opportunity. We then suggest that this is the area where you can frame some guidelines. We are also part of various task forces and discussions which held during this meeting. And in fact, recently when we were discussing about this law of land issue in aircraft particularly, that if a foreign investor invests into an aircraft leasing entity, so those discussions are also being taken up. Now, next is once all this business model comes into, similarly on the line of Dubai or Singapore, either the matter would go to the arbitration center, or the matter would be trialed through a separate court being set up in IFSC. But yes, of course, that may take.
Sangji, I tell you, basically, presently that Indian IFSC is very liberal. You can say, if you make the comparison, other IFSC is very strict, sir. Strict means very strict. Because what they say that you will have to first appoint the compliance officer. Just like that in India, if you see the Twitter episode is happened. Because in India, the law is not there. The data privacy law is not there. Data security law is not there. If data security and data privacy law is there, the first requirement will be there to appoint a person who can have the data security or the communication persons. So in foreign country, your cost of operating the IFSC or DIFC, Financial Services Center, is very high related to India. India is going to emerge, but in future also, the compliances will be tough. So presently, it may happen that your fraternity or your chartered accountant will not get much work. But in future, when the Indian standards will also come on the international standard, that time the compliances will be very hard. So that the opportunity will be there, sir. So and again, in data protection law, if it is coming, the opportunity for chartered accountant will be, I think, very high, sir.
So in fact, sir, with respect to fund, as I mentioned about AIF, there are various activities for AIF, which are back office activities, which includes fund administration, fund accounting. All these are areas wherein chartered and tax structuring. So some investor is from India, some investor relocating from foreign, what would happen to NRI income, whether it will be clubbed in India, not clubbed in India. So a whole lot of activities are there from a chartered accountancy, advisory point of view, taxation structuring, planning, so that it's a mix and match of both regulation. You are investing from India, but within India, it is treated as an outside India. So FEMA norms comes in play, GST laws. So it's a mix and match of various regulations. And of course, government, there's a concept of SUBTEC. Basically, they are coming, the IFSC authorities bringing in technology regulations.
One more thing I wanted to tell Shashankji, our Institute of Chartered Accountants should focus on this IFSC center, which is unfortunately has not done. Being a chartered accountant, I'm telling you, the focus of the Central Council members are not there in IFSC. No literature has been bringing by the Chartered Accountancy Association on the IFSC. Only just saying कि rules regulation बनाने से नहीं होगा. आपको इस पर research करना पड़ेगा. What the way any finance is going on, what the international companies are doing. Just like that, you ask कि China क्या कर रहा है, ये क्या कर रहा है. अपने chartered accountant को वहाँ जाके research करके फिर यहाँ लाना चाहिए. So ultimately in the financial field, sir, हम लोग जो कर रहे हैं क्या कर रहे हैं? हम लोग यही कर रहे हैं सर कि क्या दूसरी जगह हो रहा है, क्या इसका परसेंटेज आ रहा है, हम लोग क्यों नहीं कर सकते. जस्ट लाइक दैट अभी हम लोग एक बड़ा एयरक्राफ्ट लीजिंग में कर रहे हैं, तो उसकी पूरी गाइडलाइंस दिया. हम लोगों ने बिग फोर को भी बताया कि वो बराबर नहीं दे रहे आपको एडवाइस. फिर हम लोगों ने पूरा रूल्स रेगुलेशन जो इंडिया के नोटिफिकेशन है. देखो एक चीज और इम्पोर्टेंट, व्हाट इज इम्पोर्टेंट सर, कि जो SEZ में नहीं लगता है ना, वो सब इंडिया में लगता है. तो इंडिया में जो लगता है, जो रूल, वो SEZ में नहीं लगता है. सो यू विल हैव टू सी फ्रॉम द GST perspective also what is the exemptions, from the custom perspective also what is the exemptions, and from the other laws what is the exemption, and then you will have to study. So again, vital information is this कि चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट को रिसर्च में आना पड़ेगा. रिसर्च ये नहीं है कि आप कोई ये करो, जैसे फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट बन रहे हैं, या आपका जो क्रिप्टो करेंसी आ रहा है, या आपका जो डिजिटल करेंसी आ रहा है, तो ये सब चीजों का क्या रोल चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट का है सर? आप मुझे बताइए ना, वेयर इज द रोल. मैं खुद चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट पर no such type of research paper I have seen from the chartered accountant, and that is the irony of these things. इंस्टीट्यूट को बहुत मेहनत करी. कभी इंस्टीट्यूट ने कोई दौरा नहीं किया IFSC का, जबकि आपकी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर 4 बार जाके आ गई. आपका हर मिनिस्टर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का, मोदी साहब 4 बार जाके आते हैं. तो मैं किसी को क्रिटिसाइज नहीं कर रहा हूं, but I'm seeing what the things should be there.
No, sir. It's a collective responsibility of all of us, and कहीं ना कहीं मेरे को लगता है रतन जी के थ्रू ही हम गिफ्ट सिटी को देख पा रहे हैं.
करिए सर, मैं तो चाहता हूं कि कोई बस लेके जाए. आपके दिल्ली से बीच में जब हम लोगों का शेयर मार्केट में जब हो रहा था, पूरी बस भर के आई थी सब शेयर ब्रोकर्स की, एंड वी हैव गिवन द गाइडेड देम. उनको देखना चाहिए कि क्या इंडिया में हो रहा है. तो मेरा सर, जस्ट आई वांटेड टू टेल यू, द चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट शुड कम इनटू दिस फील्ड. They should make the study, they should make the research, and they should make the practice area. ठीक है, होंगे सक्सेस नहीं होंगे, that is the separate part, but ultimately they will get that inner satisfactions. थैंक यू सर।
रतन जी, एक चीज मैं इसमें ऐड करूंगा, मेरे एक तो सवाल है और उससे पहले एक चीज ऐड करूंगा। yesterday we read about DAO and so many kind of different cryptocurrencies
Yes.
and concepts and contracts and so many things which is actually decentralized. So
Right, sir.
I think that has a direct relation with the IFSC, because IFSC is the only space which is providing such kind of platforms from where people can interact, people can transact, and like making it possible. Otherwise, what is happening right now? Those any person who is transacting in those companies, they are incorporating outside India. So I think crypto is the another part which has to be very like so much considered in this IFSC also. And the last question from my side, being a curiosity,
No, you
like,
are good, sir. That
being
you
a
are
curious
pushing
learner from your side, like if I want to settle in Dubai or settle in Singapore, like in India, what we do generally, I want to settle in Dubai. So I try to incorporate a company and do work and all those things. So India is also turning into that kind of country, that where like many countries want to come and reside in India as a citizen. So is IFSC is also providing such kind of benefit also, like they will create such kind of citizen, or like they will give any kind of green card or any provision in this whole act which is making the other country citizen as a citizen of India? Are you getting me what I'm trying
Sir,
to say?
yeah, at
If
present it is
anybody
not
wants
there,
to
sir.
settle
At
in
present,
India,
just like that, it's a very good thought process you have told us. It was not there in our mind. I'm really thankful कि हम लोग अभी उसको authority को लेते हैं कि why not you make such type of arrangement where you can give some extra benefit to the foreign countries. But again, sir, it is an evolving step, sir. I think
exactly.
due to the COVID, यानी कि a lot of things has been delayed, and the governments started in the authority started his work on the COVID only. Then after the authority is going to be getting, और अभी गवर्नमेंट ने 200 करोड़ रुपीस दिए, वो एक बिल्डिंग बन रहा है. तो रियली आपके जो थॉट प्रोसेस है वो हम लोग को पहुंचाएंगे वहां तक. और कोई भी थॉट प्रोसेस अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है और आपकी टीम को लगता है, आप कहीं भी कम्युनिकेशन में आते हैं, तो आप हमको बताइए. वी विल टेल देम टू रीच यानी कि टू द ऑथोरिटी. सर वी हैव द ऑफिस देयर.
अब आप ही हमारी माला हो, हम तो आप ही बताते रहेंगे सारी चीजें.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू. ओके सर,
it's a pleasure to have such experience from you both of you. It's very unique. Like आपका जो परिश्रम रहा है पिछले 10-20 सालों का, मेरे को लगता है कि हम सबको तो अभी बहुत सीखना है, और आप ही हमें सिखाएंगे कि अब हमें आप इस फील्ड में एंटर कैसे करना है.
नहीं सर, हम तो सर इसमें एक और चीज मैं आपको बताता हूँ. हम लोग अभी एक बनाया, नेटवर्किंग का एक सिस्टम बनाया हम लोगों का. जैसे हमारा मून है, तो नो डाउट चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी का नहीं बोल रहा हूँ सर मैं, ये दूसरा बोल रहा हूँ कि those persons who are very expert in the field and if they come to us कि हमको ये करना है, तो हम लोग बोल रहे हैं कि आप हमारे साथ, हम आपको रिफर करेंगे, ये आपको करें. ऐसा नहीं कर रहे हम लोग. जस्ट लाइक दैट आई टेल यू, आई थिंक यू हैव सीइंग द CNBC आवाज के ऊपर एक बंदा आता है, आशीष भाहेती. वो हमारे इधर सोसाइटी में ही रहता है. तो ही हैज कम टू माय ऑफिस कह रहे, मुंद्रा जी हम लोग गिफ्ट सिटी में क्या कर सकते हैं. मैं बोला क्या कर सकते हैं कि आप उधर इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजर का काम कर रहे हो, मतलब यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग द टीवी पे आ रहे हो, तो व्हाई नॉट हम लोग दोनों मिलके जो काम हम नहीं कर रहे गिफ्ट सिटी में आप करो. जस्ट लाइक दैट इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजर, इन्वेस्टमेंट कंसल्टेंसी एडवाइजिंग जब भी आएगा. आज की तारीख में आई कैन नॉट टेक ऑन योर माय बोर्ड और हायर. हम लोग एक LLP बना लेते हैं सर. तो हमने उनके साथ एक LLP बना लिया. गिफ्ट सिटी में हम लोग जाके उसको रजिस्टर्ड करेंगे. वंस दैट ये ODI का और कुछ इश्यू चल रहा है वो अगर क्लियर हो जाता है, और जितनी भी कंपनी आएगी जिनको इंटरनेशनल एडवाइजिंग चाहिए, हम बोलेंगे ये LLP के साथ आप काम करो. इससे दो चीज होगी सर. एक तो उनका भी कॉन्फिडेंस बना रहेगा कि हम लोग शार्क टैंक होके उनको खत्म नहीं कर देंगे, उनको खा नहीं जाएंगे. और दूसरा, ही विल आल्सो बी फील दैट कि दिस इज माय ओनरशिप कंपनी. उसी तरह से हम लोगों ने अभी ई-वेस्ट के लिए एक कंपनी बनाई, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली इन इंडिया, मैं ये सोच रहा हूँ कि हम बीइंग ए चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट में क्या सोचता हूँ, हम लोगों ने ई-वेस्ट का किसी के साथ बनाया कि हम लोग नहीं करते वो काम. हमारे पास 300-400 कंपनियां जो माल निकाल रही है. अभी एक और आपको मैं इंफॉर्मेशन देता हूँ, अपॉर्चुनिटीज देयर. इंडिया के अंदर सेकंड हैंड कंप्यूटर्स हम परचेज नहीं कर सकते हैं सर. द लॉ रिस्ट्रिक्शन है. You cannot, just like that the SEZ unit which is there, I think you are also providing the consultancy. They cannot bring out their laptop even though they have used for just 1 महीना, 5 महीना, 2 साल. So there is the way, either you make it e-waste, you will have to give to the investor and he will have to break and everything, or otherwise you re-export it. Or otherwise third area is there, you go to the DGFT will ask you to go to the Environment Ministry. Environment Ministry will see what are the things, they will give the result, they will give to DGFT give the license, and then after they will bring into DTA. So ये एक बहुत बड़ी इश्यू था, तो इसके लिए हम लोगों ने एक बनाया कि हम लोग नहीं करते वो काम, हम किसी के साथ LLP में कर रहे हैं. जैसे अभी आशीष ने एक बताया कि फंड मैनेजर, हम फंड मैनेजर का नहीं करते. मैं आपको ओपन ऑफर दे रहा हूँ सारे चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट को इस प्लेटफॉर्म से कि अगर आप कोई फंड मैनेजर में एक्सपर्ट हो, जो आप काम कर रहे हो, आप हमारे साथ आइए, हम आपको गिफ्ट सिटी में अपॉर्चुनिटी देंगे, ऑफिस देंगे, हमारे साथ काम कीजिए, और हम आपको हमारे जो क्लाइंटल है उनका पूरा फंड अकाउंटिंग हम उनको दे देंगे. एक और अपॉर्चुनिटी आ रही है सर, फॉरेन करेंसी में अकाउंटिंग करने का. हम लोग नहीं करते. मैंने मेरा इनकम टैक्स नहीं करता हूँ, मैं GST नहीं करता हूँ, कोई काम नहीं करता हूँ. सो हम लोग ये भी कर सकते हैं कि कोई बंदा, जो एक बंदा चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट जो आता है कि नहीं, मैं गिफ्ट सिटी में आके काम करना चाहता हूँ, फॉरेन करेंसी में मैं अकाउंटिंग करूंगा. बिकॉज नाउ द नीड इज देयर कि इंडियन पर्सन जब वहां गया तो उसको दो टर्म्स में अकाउंटिंग रखनी पड़ रही है. एक फॉरेन करेंसी में इधर से इधर कितना भेजा, उधर से उधर किसका कितना दिया, उधर से वापस आपका लीज रेंटल. अगेन आशीष ने बोला कि आपको लीज रेंटल भी फॉरेन करेंसी में लेना पड़ेगा इंडियन काउंटर पार्टी से. पार्टियां सब इनकी होती है. बिकॉज the transaction which is going to be happen in India, you will have to first purchase an aircraft into IFSC, and after IFSC coming, it will be given on lease to the Indian enterprises. So that is also very important fields for chartered accountant कि आप foreign currency account में घुसो, आप उसमें एक्सपर्टाइज करो कि मैं केवल यही काम करूंगा. एक फंड अकाउंटिंग में घुसो कि मैं आपको NAV डेली बेसिस पे जो भी देना है, सॉफ्टवेयर सिस्टम हो गए. तो ऐसे छोटे छोटे काम बहुत आने हैं. जैसे आपने बोला सर कि फॉरेन से कोई पर्सन आता है तो उसको क्या आप ग्रीन कार्ड दे सकते हो, ये एक बड़ा फील्ड हो सकता है उनका वीजा का मैनेज करो, क्योंकि फ्यूचर में बहुत लोग आएंगे इंडिया में IFSC के लिए. जैसे दुबई में जाते हैं, दुबई गोइंग टू बी रिप्लेस्ड इनटू IFSC, दैट इज द टारगेट ऑफ आवर प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी साहब.
एब्सोल्युटली रतन जी. और मेरे को देखिए ये ख्याल क्यों आता है, क्योंकि बिजनेस आदमी पहले बाद में सोचता है, पहले सोचता है जी मुझे रहना कहाँ है.
हाँ जी.
और वो उस हिसाब से सारा बिजनेस अपना जिंदगी डिजाइन करता है.
एंड वी आर गोइंग टू टेक ए बिग एरिया इन गिफ्ट सिटी कि हम लोग एक और कॉन्सेप्ट क्या बनाया कि जैसे आप चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हो, आपको 500 स्क्वायर फीट की जगह की जरूरत नहीं है. व्हाई यू हैव टू इन्वेस्ट इन 500 स्क्वायर फीट. हम एक बिजनेस सेंटर लेके आ रहे हैं, आपको 100 स्क्वायर फीट का जगह देंगे, आपको बैठना बैठो, नहीं बैठो, और उससे आप लाइसेंसिंग कर लो. क्योंकि ये अभी क्या होता है सर, आई थिंक आशीष ने बताया नहीं आपको कि जितने भी एयरक्राफ्ट आएंगे इंडिया में, उसकी हर एक की एक कंपनी बनती है. तो आप समझ लीजिए, आशीष बोल रहा है कि 1000 एयरक्राफ्ट आएंगे तो 1000 कंपनी बनेगी, तो
SPVs बनती है सर हर एक के लिए. सर एक और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट यहाँ पर है, व्हेन यू डू बेसिकली जो रतन जी ने भी बोला कि फंड अकाउंटिंग, फंड मैनेजर, सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द एरिया. जैसे सर देयर आर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हु मे बी वर्किंग फॉर बिग कॉर्पोरेट हाउस जिसका फैमिली मैनेज ऑफिसेस. सो इंडिया में अभी तक फैमिली मैनेज ऑफिस का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है सर, दैट इज रिसाइडिंग इन DIF, दुबई वगैरह, सिंगापुर वगैरह में. तो दैट कॉन्सेप्ट आल्सो इज बीइंग पिच्ड टू IFSC अथॉरिटी कि व्हाई नॉट वी ब्रिंग इन फैमिली मैनेज ऑफिस का कॉन्सेप्ट. देन अकाउंटिंग इज हैपनिंग इन बोथ द करेंसीज, INR एज वेल एज फॉरेन करेंसी. एंड देन एक साइड आपका हेडक्वार्टर है, एक साइड आपकी ब्रांच है. आपको वहां पे अलग, वहां पे IFRS में अकाउंटिंग करना है, बट वो भी 2 करेंसी में करना है. और इंडिया से जो फंड जाएगा वो INR में जा रहा है, INR को कन्वर्ट होकर फॉरेन करेंसी में जा रहा है. कौन सा रेट लेना है, किस डेट पे अकाउंटिंग होगी, MCA में अभी INR में रिपोर्ट होता है, इधर फॉरेन करेंसी है. देयर आर होल लॉट ऑफ कॉम्प्लिकेशंस इनटू इट. एंड देन RegTech नया टेक्नोलॉजी आ रहा है, व्हिच इज रेगुलेटरी कंप्लायंस. इट्स ऑलरेडी देयर इन डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज. Regulatory compliance is basically, if somebody is working onto those domains, that is also a big opportunity for centralized KYC का mechanism आ गया है. there are requirements of KYC.
दूसरा सब ऑनलाइन होने वाला है सर. हम लोग बना रहे हैं एक सॉफ्टवेयर, आई थिंक वी विल गिव यू थोड़ा दिन बाद उसको बताएंगे. शशांक जी आपको और संदीप जी आपके पास आएंगे हम लोग. बहुत सारी चीजें चल रही है माइंड में, बहुत सारी चीजें आपसे डिस्कस करना, पर आई थिंक टाइम शॉर्ट हो रहा है, आपके मेंबर को भी बोर हो जाएंगे सर. तो मैं आपसे इजाजत चाहता हूं सर.
आपने आज जो रस हमें दिया है ना.
और सर लास्ट में मैं एक थोड़ा सा मैं प्रमोट कर रहा हूं कि आप इंस्टीट्यूट के अंदर ई-वोटिंग का एक सिस्टम प्रमोट करवाइए सर. मैं मेरी लिंक्डइन पे भी लिखता हूं कि मैं अभी कोरोना हो गया मेरे को ब्रांच में वोटिंग करना था, तो मैं क्या करूं. तो सर मेरे को मेंबर बोलते सेंट्रल काउंसिल वाले कि यार उससे ट्रांसपेरेंसी खत्म हो जाएगी. मैं बोला साहब जिसको इलेक्शन लड़ना वो लड़ो, और जो नहीं लड़के भी काम कर सकते इंस्टीट्यूट के लिए, तो आप ये क्यों इतना खर्चा करते हो, और क्यों आप सारे चीज ई एनवायरमेंट पे आ रही है. और व्हाई नॉट CA इंस्टीट्यूट बिकम द फर्स्ट पर्सन जो उन्होंने ई वोटिंग का स्टार्ट किया. कौन किसको इन्फ्लुएंस करेगा वो तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है. सो आई थिंक सर मैं थोड़ा निकलता हूँ, मेरे को एक निकलना है, तो आप मुझे इजाजत दीजिए सर.
बस 1 सेकंड दीजिए सर, बस 1 सेकंड दीजिए. First of all, thank you again, Ratan ji and Ashish ji, or just for the information to all the members, and it's a great pleasure that our newly appointed President Debashish ji and Vice President has been appointed the Aniket Talati ji. So best wishes to both of them. And Sir Ratan ji, I believe under the able leadership of Aniket ji, I think one of the youngest vice president and near future president. Yes. He is going to change so many things in institute. And with these words, I must thanks again and again. And I request Sandeep ji for officially closing it. I'll take another 1 minute only. Like Sandeep ji will take another 1 minute.
Yes,
Please,
sir.
Sandeep ji, over to you. संदीप जी आवाज नहीं आ रही है आपकी? इनका भी सर आप टेक करते हो, हमारे कन्वीनर साहब की लैपटॉप खराब हो गया है.
नहीं सर.
संदीप जी आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
सॉरी प्लीज.
हाँ, चलिए मैं संदीप जी के बिहाफ पे क्लोजर दूंगा. थैंक यू अगेन रतन जी, आशीष जी फॉर joining and accepting our invitation. And मैं ललित जी जो हमारे WIRC के चेयरमैन थे मेरे टेन्योर में, उनको मैं स्पेशल धन्यवाद करूंगा. उन्होंने ही मुझे रतन जी से मिलवाया. एक रतन
नहीं सर, कोई भी कभी भी आपको इस टॉपिक पे कोई भी इंस्टीट्यूट पे किसी को भी चाहिए तो आई एम रेडी. अगर आपको लगता है कि कोई रिसर्च करना तो भी हम रेडी है. लेकिन लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज सर, हम लोग तो कितना करेंगे. और मैंने तो मेरा रिटायरमेंट लाइफ स्टार्ट कर दिया है सर, क्योंकि आशीष को मेरे को सब देना है.
तो सर नए बच्चे आ रहे हैं.
कॉम्बिनेशन जो आपने बनाया ना सर इंस्टीट्यूट में भी, आप उसमें मेरा एक रिक्वेस्ट है, MBA को भी जोड़ दीजिए सर. आप यू आर सीइंग यानी कि माय प्रोग्रेस, माय कंपनी. मैं इतना नहीं कर सकता जितना बीइंग एक MBA आया और उसने अपना पूरा विजन बनाया, प्रेजेंटेशन बनाया और कैसे काम करने का. और इज वेरी हार्ड वर्कर. और क्या होता है सर कि एक अलग अलग थॉट प्रोसेस से अगर हम लोग कंपनी बनाते हैं और आगे बढ़ते हैं ना, तो मेरे हिसाब से बहुत अच्छा होता है. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
मैं तो रतन जी ये कहूंगा, आशीष जी आपका यंग भाई इधर बैठे है दिल्ली में. You can ask me anything, anytime.
Thank you, sir.
और चलिए, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye, sir.
Thanks everyone for joining, and thanks for the opportunity, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, sir. Jai Shri Krishna. Bye bye.